We also have Culture Casino with us, as we do every Monday usually. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Good to be here. I'm glad to be part of the new premiere of the intro. That was amazing. Love that. Big time.
Hope you enjoyed it. Yes. We also have Paul Chatto coming in from the Great White North. How are you doing? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, I unmuted and muted myself. There we go. Done. I'm better off muting, so just continue.
All right. Well, and we also have Chris Brawley joining us from Bleeding Fool. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing fantastic. And I, too, admired the new intro. That was impressive.
I hope so.
Yes.
Cost me lots
I'm
of
going to
money.
see it again.
You want to see it again?
Some point. Yes, it does need to be.
We can probably show it again here shortly.
Okay.
We also have with us Scribbles, aka Scribe Light. How are you doing this morning?
Doing all right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the end of 2024 and into 2025. I feel like, where's my moon base? Where's my flying car? Why aren't we all wearing telephones on our eyeballs or something by now?
3 seashells.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should settle for we're not in the desert fighting for fuel, being chased by Wes. So there's
That's
always
true.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Although I still think I want my robot.
We're still only 7 years away from Demolition Man.
No, it's true.
And I think we're like, what, 20 years away from Idiocracy, if that?
Yeah, Elon is working very hard on bringing you Optimus, so you may have your robot before you know.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be one of the early adopters. I mean, and if I die, you'll know not.
You
to
know
get
why? Yeah, it's gonna be famous last words and what have you.
Well, we're 5 years
yes,
past
indeed.
Blade Runner, so.
Yeah, we're way past that now. But let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got some super chats already this morning. Let's see, we got Pack and Protons coming in early with $5, talking about the Spider-Man trailer, which we're going to get into here in a bit. So Spider-Man, I didn't listen to it, just looked at the animation. I guess it looks better than most Tumblr cartoons, but that isn't saying much. Well, we'll talk all about that just in a few minutes here. We got Stone Gaspin sending in 20 smackaroos. Thank you for that already. $20 to top off the show. Says,
Awesome.
Happy New Year, Midnight's Edge. My top 11 films of 2024 are Challengers. Oh, you liked that Challengers movie? Isn't that weird movie culture with Zendaya?
Yeah, that is that's yeah. I think this is a joke. I think you're being gassed. Yeah. Because Challengers was
Civil War.
terrible.
Well, no.
Civil
Dune
War
Part
was
2, The Fall
terrible.
Guy was good, but Heretic, no, I think he's being honest. Horizon Chapter 1, Late Night with the Devil, Nosferatu and the Substance, Women of the Hour. Reactions and thoughts. The last few, but from there it gets a little better.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the substance is probably one of the better choices for
I haven't seen
Oscar,
that one yet, but yeah.
Oscar favorite. Nosferatu. As soon as I see it, I know I'm going to be in love with it.
You see everything right away. How have you not seen this movie
I am
yet?
sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a valid excuse.
Unless you got the plague, there ain't no excuse for not
We know
seeing
you're sick,
Nosferatu.
Culture. We know you're
I would actually say if you have the plague, you definitely have no excuse for not seeing it.
Yeah, true. But no, Challengers was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Hey, Stone Gassman liked it, so.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, half of the list I'm on board with.
I
and the
did
other
hear
half-
surprising things about Civil War. I remember that.
Okay, well, I that's surprising to me because it was not a good film.
You didn't like it? Well, I mean, a lot of people said it was surprisingly not as woke as they thought it was going to be, or whatever. Or something like that.
It was just generally annoying. Dune Part 2, though, I think the end is what destroyed the film for me. Everything up to
That
that
last
moment.
half, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to say this: I've yet to see anything that Zendaya's been in that I've thought that she was an asset to the production.
Yeah.
She was all right in that last Spider-Man movie.
No.
Yeah, she was all supportive and shit.
As long as she's not in it for very long, maybe that's the bonus.
She didn't really do anything but be supportive. She was just there.
Yeah. Well, she gave you the one look face that she's got.
Yeah.
Like me?
No, you don't have a one look face.
I look like a thumb no matter what I do.
That's not true.
All right.
The
whatever.
Fall Guy was good. I'm sorry, it was funny.
Agreed.
It wasn't. I didn't like it as much as everybody else did, but I wonder if it's because it was so overhyped before I got a chance to see it. Maybe.
Yeah, the relationship between them didn't work.
I agree with you, Paul. They had zero chemistry.
I don't
That
think
one.
Emily Blunt has chemistry with anybody. I mean, I'm not
Well,
sure.
I mean, Is she had a winner in a while? I mean, let's see. She was in that terrible rock movie, Jungle Cruise or Jungle.
I'd say I think she's just lucky that she's in like every other movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mary
I like her.
Poppins wasn't very good.
Yeah, I like
Which
her
one?
too. She's just not a great actress.
which one?
Oh
did
no,
Paul say?
she's a good actress.
I
Holy
think she's
crap!
fine.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, great movie.
Oh no, she's a good actress. I just agree with Paul. Her and Gosling had like no fucking.
Nothing. But it was also
chemistry at all.
badly written.
It-
He was way too much of a sad sack.
I haven't seen the extended cut either. I don't know if that
Enough.
helps.
I
You know,
didn't-
action-
we didn't
I-
need him to be such a turd.
To Action Jackson was poorly written, but I enjoyed it. I mean, come on.
There's a difference between. Well, anyway, moving on though. I haven't seen the Late Night with Devil. I've heard a lot of people say that was
I
good.
have.
Heretic, same thing. What do you
Yeah.
think about it, Scribe?
Late Night with the Devil. It was a really cool setup, but it kind of loses its like
Oh,
it's
that's bad.
difficult to remain in immersion with it because it breaks the theme a couple of places. It's supposed to be this sort of found footage sort of late night TV show thing where all these crazy things happen, except they use several narrative tools in there that break the idea that you're actually watching a found footage situation, and it makes it very jarring into keeping with that theme. And then at one point it completely goes bonkers, which is fine at the end. I mean, it's a good watch. They did a lot of production value in it. They really hit that 70s show kind of late night deal. And there's some lore going on in the background that they don't hit you over the head with. So
I have a
it's
question.
entertaining, but it kind of loses about maybe halfway through.
Oh, okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it an independent film? Does it have an independent film kind of feel to
Isn't
it?
it A24 or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think A24 picked it up. It does have an independent feel to it. It wasn't a very, we're not talking about
It has
big
that
budget
guy
film.
who plays
So-
Polka Dot Man or
So
whatever.
my
in it.
point is that
Yeah.
independent films don't have to be perfect.
No, it's not. It's fine. I mean, it's
But-
entertaining. It is
Yeah,
entertaining.
okay.
I don't agree with all the praise that's been weighed upon it as like it's the greatest horror film of all time or something like that. It's really entertaining. It's fun to watch, but it loses its cadence here and there, and it just kind of like, it's all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I appreciate
love
it for what
this.
it is.
I love this little meme you got here. I just
Yeah.
wonder if that's a single mother because hello. Anyway, Horizon I've actually fallen in love with. And of course Nosferatu we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, great list there, Stone. And he's got another 5 here where he says, apologies, 11th film is Jeremy Saulner's Rebel Ridge, which is exclusively on Netflix along with debut director Anna Kendrick's Woman of the Hour. There you go.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was out. I'll have to go check that out. So
There you go. And then
What,
we got
Rebel
Walter
Moon isn't at the top of your list.
Rebel, not that move, Rebel Ridge, not Rebel Moon.
Oh, because
Big
Rebel
difference.
Moon was
Big,
Very big difference,
fabulous.
yeah.
big difference. Walter Tomaszewski's been here for 3 months. Thank you for that,
Hey.
Walter. We got STR Red Wolf says, I like the old intro better. Oh, it's gone. Sorry.
Fight me.
Got to move on at some point, man. Got to move on. I know. Bucky
People don't
Cat's
like
been
change.
yeah, I know. Bucky Cat's been a member for 21 months. Thank you for that. You know, we've had that intro now for what, Andre? 3 years?
yeah, it's been a while.
Pretty much since the beginning. So yeah, it would be more.
Well, that's what I was saying. We
3,
started
4
this
years,
about this time ish, 2020, right? Oh,
Yeah.
no. 4 years.
It's a new year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it may
yeah,
have
it's
been
about time.
2019. So yeah, full 4
It's about
years. We
time.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a SmackDown.
What was that, Paul? I didn't
Here
hear
comes a SmackDown.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Dark King says, be nice about Tom's reading skills. English is his second language. His first is Wisconsinese. See, he understands me, which has 37 different words for boring. He is not fucking wrong. And if I was actually speaking Wisconsinese, the only one who'd probably be able to understand me on the panel would be Paul.
Because it's very close to Hungarian.
Well, not just that, it's that upper
Oh
north
yeah,
there, like,
that,
it's like
that
yeah,
up there
just-
in Ottawa, eh? You know,
yeah.
that is
Cheese and
that
arrow,
thing,
cheese
eh?
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Duct tape. Everything.
duct tape is the perfect thing, eh?
Answer.
Goes
everything.
great with ketchup.
And silver goes good with everything. Yeah. Grimzilla says, how is that supposed to be the Green Goblin? That was the blackish wink. Whoa. Wait for Disney to waste Osborne's Call Goblin Slayer, please. Well, we're going to get into this here in just a little bit. So we're going to put some pins in some of these super chats in just a few minutes. We're going to do a couple more here. We got Patrick Robinson who says, I'm making my first movie of the year, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Interesting. It's from the same people who made the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. So you're actually working on it, is what I think Patrick is saying. Well, that's pretty cool. Congratulations if that's the case. Awesome sauce. So you're actually making a movie. Then we got Gundam Warrior here with $9.99. He says, top 5 first-time watches of 2024. Number 1, Nosferatu. Number 2, American Fiction. I haven't got a chance to see that one yet.
Oh,
Did that come out this year? I thought that was last year.
was that 2023?
The American Fiction one,
Yeah.
I thought.
I thought it was this year.
Was it
I
this year?
love
thought it was-
American Fiction.
I haven't got a chance to see it yet. But anyway,
It is
Dune
a
Part
funny
2.
movie.
Because I have the
No, it's
Blu-ray.
2023. Okay, my bad.
Well, I
was
think
gonna
it's a
say-
staggered release that it premiered in festivals and stuff.
Oh,
in 2000.
okay.
Oh, sure.
Anyway,
Okay.
Late Night with the
Formally, but I
Devil.
don't
So there's
think it,
another one for Late Night with the Devil. Longlegs' biggest surprise, Transformer 1 worst film. Alien Romulus, Happy New York, guys. Also, biggest surprise was Transformers. The worst film was Alien Romulus. And I think Andre would agree with you on that for the worst film, but he didn't like it either.
No, I don't like it. Of course, there's been plenty. There's been worse films. I was just like so disappointed because I had done like an alien deep dive before, and it was very much so not what I wanted.
It was everything I expected it to be, it sounds like. I haven't watched it yet, but
Transformers 1, our reviewer at Bleeding Fool loved it.
that has been, I don't know if Andre got a chance to check it out yet, but everybody's been saying it was a lot better than they figured it was going to be.
I did see it. I
did you?
I
Okay.
enjoyed it. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a shame that we're unlikely to get the other 2 movies that were planned, just to bring it all the way up to Bumblebee, because I thought it
They might do them for
cool.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure it was probably just set up a series too, like TMNT was. That was my
Maybe.
guess.
Now, my understanding, based on the comments from Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, was that they were hoping to do like a trilogy of those movies, not a series, just a trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
Well, of course, if they're clever, they would set up a pipeline as a series, do like 1 season, but instead you do that season as 3 movies and release them theatrically. Ka-ching, baby.
It's an easy way to do it. And then Shadow Dance of the Red Mage says, Andre's cartoon avatar doesn't look metal enough. Well, hopefully we won't be seeing that avatar that much longer. Isn't that right,
Yeah.
Andre? I think you're working on that.
Yeah, working on it.
So keep that in mind, kids. It's getting closer. Superman Lives sends in 14 South African Rand, says, would have preferred Spider-Man 98 or Unlimited Season 2. Well, yeah. We got a new one, though. How many Spider-Man cartoon shows have there been now? There's been like 20, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh, geez.
Count.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, I'm not
It's
even
kind of like, when do you
exaggerating.
start counting?
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 that are any good. That's my point. Like maybe 4 tops. Oh, Patrick says, I'm not working on it. I meant making it my first movie to go see this year. Oh,
Okay.
well, that was my fault. But the way it was worded, I thought that's what you meant. But on Mondays, we do a thing around here. Isn't that right? That's one of the main reasons we have this fuzzy guy over here to my to screen right here. And that's the Pox office. And boy,
The
oh boy,
box
it was
office.
the Pox office. Yeah, I said the Pox. I was
Well,
doing
I'm
so good this
sick. I
morning.
mean, that's about right. I mean,
No.
There you go.
Yeah, he is sick. That's true. So yeah, the Pox office or the box office was quite a wild one this week because we have a 5-day weekend. So let's start with that first before we get in the actuals for the 3-day. Sonic and Mufasa brawl over the number 1 spot, and Nosferatu feasts $40 million.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a nice
Okay,
weekend.
guys, this is crazy because I think it was up to the wire this morning, wasn't it, Culture, on who won the weekend?
Yeah, it did. It came out to, yeah, and it technically it's not even really resolved, but yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But look, the way that the media portrayed this versus the way it actually exists in the world actually generated, which I couldn't find again this morning, a community note on how this was being reported, where Sonic versus Mufasa. Nosferatu's big bucks were great, but the media spent the large part of the weekend trying to tell everybody that Mufasa was the big winner overall. It had surpassed Sonic, et cetera, et cetera. And that wasn't necessarily the truth. But what really impressed me, of course, and we'll get to that even when we get to the chart, was still how Nosferatu did here in the States. I could not believe that a horror
I
film,
it,
basically counter programming in less than 3,000 theaters, was able to do as well as it did. Just the weekend alone was 21 million. I mean,
I'm
it's
not
insane.
totally surprised, but I am, right? Like, because
Yeah.
Andre and I kind of discussed a little bit too. I was like, we talked about how, it could be like the next Bram Stoker's Dracula, but neither one of us, I don't think either one of us thought it could do as well as that, but it's kind of on its way already if it stays this course. And that's the thing is Nosferatu is overperforming all the other films in the top 5.
Yep. It was only supposed to do 30 million, and it pulled in.
And I mean by the percentage per per screen, because it only has it has 1,000 less screens than Mufasa and Sonic do on average. That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Do you think the B- cinema score though is gonna hit?
I think I know what that's about. There's going to be, and we'll probably get into this a little bit later when we talk to Andre how he felt about it, because we're going to probably get into spoilers then. There's going to be some people who are just, this is not their cup of tea.
Gotcha.
It is just not going to sit well with them. They're not going to be able to sit through it. And another problem is, and Andre figured this out too, and I think he's right. Some people are going into this expecting the traditional vampire / Dracula movie, not realizing what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So just to give a story about that, this Nosferatu, the original predates Hollywood's vampire formula. It's actually a movie about demonology and possession, and that is what this remake takes a deep dive into, which is the right choice to make, but it's going to put people back, because they're going to be like, what's this thing about demons and Satanism and pentagrams, and where's the vampires?
Yeah.
It probably has a little bit more in common with things like The Exorcist.
Yes.
Well,
honestly.
And it truly hasn't exploited the international market yet either. I mean, internationally, it did like $3 million plus.
Yeah, it's only
4.
opened in a few other markets. Andre was running into that issue.
Yeah. Because it's like the thing. It's like, for instance, the UK. It doesn't open until I think this weekend. Norway, it doesn't open until this weekend. I went to an advanced screening on Saturday. So many places around the world, this hasn't opened yet.
But as Tom says, and the thing that impresses me is the number of theaters it's doing it in, right? Because its average screen pull just over the weekend alone here in the States was $7,000 a screening.
Wow.
Or excuse me, a theater. Excuse me. Which those are big numbers. Those are good numbers. For a horror movie. This is, if you guys noticed, and this seems to be a trend, horror films are overperforming the market wildly right now.
I think it's odd, but maybe that is this is actually kind of more normal, because things have kind of calmed down, I feel like, as we kind of approach let's say the obvious the next year with the the inauguration and everything like that. I think people are feeling a little bit less stressed out than they were a few months ago, let's say, to where when I couldn't believe it, just because, and the only reason I said most of these horror movies are doing well is just because there's nothing else worth a shit.
Yeah.
Terrifier was ridiculous. I mean, I'm going through the list in my head.
Terrifier, I think, could have done better if they saved it, but yeah.
But you understand my point. I mean, it's just like this movie cost like $3 and a bucket of chicken.
Well, I don't know how the hell. I mean, somebody must have sat down Eggers and had a conversation with him. Because his last, I don't know how much his movies were before. I don't know how much The Witch was, but I think Lighthouse was a little pricey, and I know Northman was kind of it was a great film, but I know it cost way too damn much and it lost money.
Yeah, that was
what it made, yeah.
But this, he kept the budget under $50 million, shot it on film, and it looks fucking amazing.
It does.
Does it properly not even homage, but pay good tribute to the original? Andre?
Oh God, yes. I mean, we'll get into this deeper later if you're still here, but like, yeah, oh God, yeah. I mean, and I was so glad to hear Andre felt the same way I did about how this movie managed to thematically take everything from the original film and just build upon it. This does what great remakes do. Okay. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this belongs up there with like The Thing and You know,
Wow.
Scarface and all those other great pantheon.
It's one of the great remake, one of
Yeah.
the greatest remakes ever made.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, but you shot it on film. It's not digital. It has
It's in the
has
1661 aspect ratio too.
yeah, and it's very practical in everything it does. So you're looking, every dollar is on the screen. All $50 million is on that screen, supposedly, according to people who've seen it. I didn't get a chance to see it because I've been sick as a dog, but this will be the film that I run out and go see probably tomorrow because I've been stoked about it. I wanted to see it Christmas Day. There was some family that wasn't going to let me, but it's one of those things with the ability to do this on film again and to start see directors really start using film again or forcing film use again.
Two
It
of my
gives me
favorite
hope.
movies this year were on film, actually.
Yeah.
Saturday Night and this. And then I
It ge-
think Twisters was shot on film this year, and a couple other ones were too, yeah.
It gives me hope because there's a lot of things that you can do with film you cannot do in digital media. You just
Well,
can't.
and that was why I laughed at that story when Horizon came out, and I found out the last few years to get the filmic look, a lot of these directors, what they've been doing is they'll shoot the film in digital, print it out, scan that print, so then they have a filmic looking version of it.
That's
to me,
nuts.
I know, and that's where I'm like, finally, some guys like Eggers and the rest of them are finally get it. You shoot the film on film, then you edit digitally after you scan it all in 6 or 8K or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. I'm just impressed. Nosferatu already has earned more money than The Witch or The Lighthouse already.
Oh, it's going to quickly become profitable within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it only cost 50 and it made 43.
And I don't think they've spent a bunch on advertising because I think a lot of the advertising was done at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people who didn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden everybody knew who it was.
Do you feel
Eggers is
Go ahead.
unusual though. He's got a certain cache that
yes.
because of his films, right? Sort of
Yeah.
there's something almost preternatural, or there's a supernatural feel to his films. It's like big budget art house almost. So
who was it I was talking to? Somebody said this movie is like haunted. I can't remember who it was that said
Yeah.
that.
I felt that way about The Witch, man.
Like,
I
the
thought
movie felt
a
like it
great
was
movie,
evil.
but at the end of the film, I was actually unsettled at the ending of.
Oh, that's what it was about. With the witch. Somebody told us like, don't watch that movie. It's evil.
It
like,
is
what?
super creepy.
It has evil in it. It's like-
My wife liked The Lighthouse better than I did. I just thought it was, I don't know. It seemed like a exercise in indulgence. I don't know.
What I love is I've never really seen any interviews or anything with Eggers. I've seen pictures of him. I expected him to be like some Norwegian dude or something. I've been watching him on that Criterion Collection closet thing, and he's this little, just kind of like dude, just kind of like, this is a really good movie here, man. It's like, yeah, this is a good one here. It's just like, oh, this is no way. This is the guy that just made Nosferatu. Like,
Well, let's enter into this conversation the fact that this is Focus Features, which is, I guess, starting to slowly make a name for themselves now.
Yeah.
well, they're a Universal company, aren't they?
Yeah, I think but it's strange because you have this little sub studio, right? That's just like
Well, Universal has like 3 or 4 little
They
studios.
do,
Like
yeah,
that. That's what
like-
yeah.
who acquired Atomic Monster? I forget, but it's like the two of them are now working together in that studio that's Universal banner. Why is that not coming to mind?
I just want to
I
know
don't-
whether Nosferatu is anything like the 1995 Casper,
Yes.
a little bit. Yeah.
and I'm going to go see it.
Except
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels has
Nina,
no hair.
Christina Ricci, you mean?
No, she's
I don't think Jeff
she's just-
Daniels.
You have a
was in-
Christina-
Christina
Bill
Ricci
Pullman.
lookalike, so
Bill
there's that.
Pullman
Bill Pullman. That was who it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
and Eric Idle.
That's
Yes.
right. I saw that movie in the theater. The sad thing is, the best joke in the whole movie is Dan Aykroyd.
That's true.
I
That was
like
funny.
that.
I was like, I'm sitting here going, like, you know, what'd be really funny is if one of the Ghostbusters showed up right now, and then all of a sudden Dan Aykroyd comes out of the house. I was like, you got to be shitting me.
I think Focus Features
Yeah.
also does the Downton Abbey movies, which
Well, they've been around
Mm.
for 20, 25 years. I
Downton
remember they
Abbey
got their
movie.
start.
it's its
they got their-
biggest movie ever. This will be its biggest movie for that studio ever.
Yeah, they got their start back in the early aughts doing horror films. Like one of their first movies was Seed of Chucky. They produced under Universal, right? Because that's how I remember they're a Universal company because of that.
Okay.
And then ever since then, they've done a lot of these little indie horror films and kind of off kilter stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have Blumhouse also over there at Universal, and doesn't A24 do their distribution through Universal, or do they do their own distribution? I can't remember now.
Don't know. I know
I
they
think
did
maybe
that
they do their own.
Coraline movie, which my daughter really liked.
They might do their own, but yeah.
Little stop motion horror flick.
Hey, I like all the old school stuff. Like I said, overall, this was just the biggest surprise of the weekend for me, and it was a pleasant one. And we don't often get those. So Nosferatu with the big numbers.
Well, this is far better than remember the Christmas box office last year. It was Aquaman 2, Wonka, Color Purple. I think the only thing for kids was Migration. So this is a definite step up, a lot healthier for the movie theaters this season.
Wow.
This round.
You just reminded me, Aquaman 2 was terrible. Oh.
And that was the big
Oh,
block, that and Wonka, which
Yeah.
Timothy, he had another good Christmas.
Yeah, a complete unknown.
yeah, Complete Unknown. Yeah, I want to
Mhm.
see that one. Oh yeah, maybe it is Warner that they go through. I think you're right, Toxic Waltz. Anyway, yeah. So Complete Unknown, how'd that do? Because I don't know how many screens that even
I
had.
think it
A
came
Complete
in
up
Unknown
here.
did really well. Yeah, if we look at the main chart, obviously the fight's at the top, but but Wicked's still hanging in there for some reason I don't understand. Moana 2 has run out of steam, but there is a chance it is going to cross $900 million, if not in the next few days, then in the next week. And the Complete Unknown showed up at 11.6 million for Searchlight. This is pretty impressive for the weekend, considering its opening period and the lack of screens. Again, Tom, here's another sub 3,000 screens, and it's doing 4,000 a screen. Not bad. 23 million overall. And I'm going to say this. I'm reversing my position on Shamalama Ding Dong. I think that he's not a terrible actor, and he can actually sing.
Yeah, I hear he went all out for this Bob Dylan movie. My dad wants to see, because my dad's a huge Bob
Wow,
Dylan
yeah.
fan. And because this is the first time my dad's asked me about a movie in a while, other than he said something about Wicked, but but that was because he's a big Wizard of Oz fan too. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to want to see that, Dad. And I kind of explained to him why, and he's like, oh, never mind.
Well, it comes out on digital tomorrow, I think, with 3 hours of bonus content. You and your
Yeah.
dad can just sit around and watch it for hours.
No thanks, no thanks.
Are you sure?
You know,
Year.
you know what's sad is I think part of that 3 hours of bonus content is the sing along version.
It is. Yeah, we here in about an hour, we publish a little snippet on everything that's in
The
it. So.
sing along version of Bob Dylan. I'm not into
No,
that.
no, sing along with Wicked.
Back
Oh,
to
no, Wicked.
unknown.
You know, you got in trouble.
Dreams
You
gonna
got in
fly.
trouble in the theaters for singing along. Now you can do it in the comfort of your own home. And of course, commentary from the actresses, commentary from the director, and on and on. And this
Does
is
it have follow the bouncing nose ring?
oh, it should.
Okay,
Oh my,
Oh, gosh, maybe we can go back into post and put that in.
there you
that'd
go.
be amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, but again, I mean, if you're gonna go tracking down the top 10, Baby Girl is actually doing better than I expected. I guess a lot of people like erotica now with Nicole Kidman in it. This film is basically hours of her simulating orgasm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Which is what
Gladi-
any woman is good at. That doesn't require acting.
Well, I mean,
I don't
did you
know
see
that
Joy?
she is. I don't
Did you
know.
know? Did you know that Joy Behar actually recently did that on The View?
Oh,
Just so
Oh,
you know.
Lord.
I'll have what she's having.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is not very good at that. But
Well-
she was supposedly a comedian, but
Yes, she was a
yeah.
stand-up.
Was there anything else we needed to talk about on the box? I know Baby Girl's getting talked about a lot, and I don't know what.
Yeah.
the
Well,
deal
I
is with
mean,
that other than
Mufasa's doing really well overseas.
yeah, we kind of ignored Mufasa. That's kind of the big story is that there's the
And-
battle between Mufasa and Sonic. Yeah,
And it's, you know what? Again, I don't know what the budget is. Disney obviously does a terrible job on this, but I mean, give them credit for in some ways for Moana 2, because that probably cost them nothing because it was just repurposed TV stuff, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
So I mean, from a distributor point of view, this has been a very good month, and it's good, that's good news.
Well,
for
they're
movies
trying to
in
spin it
general.
as a win anyway, and that's kind of where culture was starting off with, and we kind of trailed off. But
Yeah, and it's fine. I mean, Mufasa again, they are spinning it as a win. It just barely crossed, 113 million here in the States. The international box office is coming in about right, but this is going to have such a limited shelf life that it needed everything it could get out of the extended Christmas weekend that it got, their week
Well,
or
and
whatever you want to call it.
everybody's
So,
big question was, how did it come ahead of Sonic so many times this week? Because that was the big news. Is every time it would bump ahead of Sonic, they would put out a new commercial that it was the #1 film in America, or #1 film in the world, or whatever.
yeah, and then they would get community
And
noted.
yeah, and they get community noted. Well, okay. We all have our theories on this. I think it's a combination of, you have the Christmas holiday. All the kids who wanted to see Sonic already probably saw it that first weekend. You have basically Disney has taken all the screens, right? So basically, a lot of people who went to see Sonic couldn't go to see it because it was sold out, so they got stuck seeing Mufasa instead. Plus, I'm sure that, a lot of the girls were like, well, I want to go see Moana or Wicked, and then the boys were like, well, I want to go see Sonic. So then, and grandma's sitting there going, I don't know what a Sonic is. So they're like, okay, well, I'll go see The Lion King then. Everybody knows what The Lion King is, and they all compromise. So there was that too. So I think there's that combination of all those things together is why Mufasa got this bump the way it did. But it's still looking like Sonic might have taken
It did.
the top spot. At least that's where it was sitting the last we had looked.
It domestically, it's still sitting at the number one film in right now. And the international box office, now mind you, this thing has opened in next to nothing up until this last weekend. So this 74 million is just this weekend, and it's still not open in all the international markets. So the reason why there's a disparity in the worldwide box office is because Sonic just barely opened internationally. I mean, you take a look at these international numbers, and there's a lot of numbers that aren't just officially in at this point. These are all estimations, right? Other than Portugal there, they get you to $74 million from its opening date of 12/24. This is just the thing I want to point out, because the way this is being covered in the trades is disingenuous, for lack of a better way to put it. Because if we look at Mufasa and its international numbers, if we drive down to the details, this opened 12/19 most places.
So it has an extra day, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it has a lot of extra days. So it had basically a week of performance internationally. We haven't had that. We'll see what happens here in a week, and we'll compare likes to likes instead of the what they're having us compare this to. Regardless, look, $327 million is not getting your money back from Mufasa, because I believe the budget was over 200 million. So
I think this one will squeak by. I think what I said about it being similar to Little Mermaid's going to pan out, because I think on the other end of this is, once we get into this week here and go along into the holiday week where kids are off, boys tend to go to see movies more often, multiple times.
Oh yeah.
So I have a feeling Sonic's going to have some long legs coming into the new year. So
yeah, me too. I think Sonic's
I
going to
think
eat
you
its
could
lunch.
put money on that. Yeah.
January is our burn off month.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Burn off
And,
the shitty movies.
Yeah, well, yeah, and February seems to be too, because we're going to get Captain America, Brave New World. So
Yes.
I want to go see Complete Unknown. I got to go see that.
you should. I hear it's very good.
Yeah, one of the mentors of the Frantics, Don Cullen, had a club in Toronto called the Bohemian Embassy in the 60s, where people like Ian and Sylvia, Gordon Lightfoot, that phenomenal era of entertainers, Seeger, they all played at the Bohemian Embassy. And one day that Don was not there running the show, the coffee house, he had his second in charge, who was an officious little person. And this scraggly individual with a guitar came in and said that he was in Toronto for the day. Can he play a set? He had heard about the Bohemian Embassy, and the guy told him to fuck off. The evening's full, doesn't need him. it was Bob Dylan.
Mm.
And then Dawn came back like the next day and then heard what his manager had done and freaked out. So the Bob Dylan shows up, says, "Get lost. The evening is you got it full of entertainers."
Okay, I guess I'll
I mean, because of the Bohemian Embassy, you'd also have these poets doing horrendous poetry, right? I don't know if you're not from this era, and I was barely on the edge of it, but I'd been to those kinds of places like the Riverboat and stuff like that, where you'd have a really good band and then a poet, which like, please get off.
Like those Bohemian poets and shit.
Yes. Just, I mean, they're one notch above beat poets in terms of horrificness.
Yeah. Well, we actually have some breaking news. So unless there's anything else to say about the box office, because even though we planned today out very well, nothing ever happens the way we plan it. So was there anything more in the box office culture or anybody else that you guys wanted to comment on here?
I think it's just good that, notwithstanding whether the studios are making money on them, it having people come to the theater is a habit that is contagious. And I think that in of itself is good news, whether we like the movie or not, whether we hate the production company that put it out or not, it's good news.
The theater was pretty packed on Christmas Eve when I went to see Nosferatu. I was actually kind of surprised.
That's what we need. And it's not a bad variety of films. I mean, we're not seeing classics here.
I think Nosferatu is going to be a...
No. But it's not up there with Shampoo. Come on.
Jeez.
Wait, is that's
the
bar?
Electric Boogaloo? You're
That's
right.
the bar. That's the bar.
So with that, that's the box office news for this week.
Yay.
Thank you so much, guys, for that. But we got some breaking news here. This is big breaking news, and I think I fucking knew it.
Oh no.
Is it really though breaking? Is it really that surprising?
It is, but it isn't. No, it's not. But you know
some
what?
people.
I was one of the people that said this was going to be a thing because I was told it was going to be a thing. So
I fucking knew it. Oh.
But now we actually have details. So in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Jason Momoa will be playing Lobo. So there you go, kids.
That's a good match.
We all knew it, but
sure.
like Chris said, but this is official now. So there we go. Plot details are still under wraps, but Jason did a post over on the Instatix. Thanks to Six who brought this to my attention. Says, so Lobo, I collect comics and I don't so much anymore, but he was always my favorite, and I always wanted to play Lobo because I'm like, hello, it's the perfect role. He said, I mean, listen, if they call and ask me to play him, it's fuck yeah. I haven't received that call. This is what he said like a while back. But yeah.
Well, and then he posts over on the side, they called.
Yeah, they called. Yeah. There you go.
So, it was always meant to be. I don't think he should have been Aquaman. I think that was ridiculous. No. That was the long-haired version of Namor, not Namor. That was the Submariner look.
But that was Snyder's choice, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Surprise.
Snyder made some good choices and some bad choices.
Yeah, well, I think he can play Lobo. I mean, he's perfect to play Lobo. Come on.
Absolutely.
It's very
so playing Lobo as Aquaman.
Exactly. I assume he'll be like chasing Supergirl across the universe as a bounty hunter, and then eventually become her ally halfway through the movie.
Oh, you've just written the script.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Sorry.
So how much of that is in the Woman of Tomorrow Tom King story? That's my other question, I guess, because I'm not familiar with it.
I don't know.
Is Lobo in that? Because if that's the case, because that was what I was wondering too, is how much they're actually going to use from that story. That's what everybody's worried about.
Yeah, very good question. I don't know.
And I'm starting to understand a little bit more now why James Gunn said that Supergirl was going to be the punk rock Supergirl. Because you add Lobo to the mix.
Punk rock Supergirl. Ugh.
I think I know what he means by, because she's supposed to be more of a teenager.
Yeah.
Than
sure.
Rebel, so.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll be the little rebel.
Yeah.
They should play Rebel from David Bowie.
She's being played by, well, probably will be on the soundtrack. See, that'll be the one that actually has the James Gunn pop soundtrack, even though he'll just be a producer.
Yeah.
But it's played by that one chick from the new Game of Thrones show is going to be playing her.
Right.
Oh God, what's her name? I was
The Australian.
It's Alcock. You can't remember Alcock?
I know, right?
We all remember
You should
Alcock.
remember the cock,
monthly
though.
cramps like?
What was that, Paul?
What Supergirl's monthly cramps must be like?
Is that where the band got their name from?
Break the
cramps?
sound barrier.
Maybe she wears kryptonite thongs. I don't know.
Yeah, for those heavy days.
So yeah, it's a little breaking news there as we move along here. But yeah,
See, no one talks about that. See,
yeah,
It's
the big
true.
news.
You really need to.
That's why you're here, Paul.
I know.
Big
Oh,
news
here we
today, as
go.
everybody was talking about, was the Spider-Man trailer. So here we go.
Oh
I don't
my
think Paul's
God!
seen
I don't
this
want to
yet.
see this.
Okay, you get to see it.
Oh, fuck. Well animated, but it's total woke.
You're gonna
Some
be
of the
real
animation looks all right.
I'm okay. Hey.
Oh no! Runs
so I'm
into
pretty
black
sure it's a-
girlfriend. No.
Yeah, it's a different. Is this the same Peter Parker, or is that a different Peter Parker? That was my question.
Are we going to pretend that Spider Sense doesn't exist?
Yes.
He's always been a bit clumsy.
You know me, clumsy, Petey, Parker. Help! Mr. Campbell, I remembered I left something in the bathroom. Deuces. Parker out.
Superpower size kid. Know you want a neighbor like me. Look out.
Somebody help me! He's running, grab
Hip
him!
hop.
What was that, Paul?
Mandatory hip hop.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, it's an
digging,
all-black school, I think. He's at a
the remix.
all-black
I think
school.
so. I think you're right there, Chris.
Gotcha!
I thought it was dead meat. Check out our next victim
Okay,
in his
so he does
dumbass
talk.
costume.
Is my suit really that bad? Ouch.
And I
Okay,
think
so
that
is he
person's
trans? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he has earrings, lipstick, and a
And they have a
ponytail.
weird body shape to him.
Yeah. I think
Got
that
the
person-
shoulder pads in the jacket.
Yep.
He looks very stunning and brave.
Agreed.
I'm with
Yeah.
Andre.
Wait, are you saying that's transborn?
Oh,
He
Maybe.
will transform.
Ah,
so wait, so was Harry a Harriet at one point, or is it?
How Harry is Harry? We
I'm
don't
so
know.
confused.
Well, it doesn't matter because
How
that's all that
Harriet-
means anyway.
how Harriet met
They're so
Spidey?
ambiguous anymore. I can't tell which direction they're going.
Yeah, it's hard to guess these days. They're just so they surprise us with every turn at every turn.
I think it's almost like the race swapping is the shield. Okay, if you get what I'm saying. So,
Sure.
oh, you have a problem with black characters? No. You
We'd
know
like
what?
to apologize for making Peter Parker white.
Yeah, maybe. Compton. No kidding. It really it looked like a 90% black and minority school, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
It's
This is
Spider-Man directed by Spike Lee. That's all.
Oh! Watch out for that ladder! Just consider it a good deed from your friendly neighborhood
So we have
Spider-Man.
the
That's me.
mechanical
By the way,
web,
I'm Spider-Man.
Why is it what?
So he's got
So-
mechanical web in this
Yeah.
this version of Spider-Man.
Well, he's got
Yeah.
Paste Pot Pete as a framework for his outfit. I don't like the hoses. What's with the hoses?
I hate the
Don't
outfit.
get
I
the
hate it.
hoses. Hide
The
the
hoses-
hoses.
Yeah, the outfit's like this Ben Reilly quasi the first Spider-Man movie when he had his sweatpants on kind of thing, and it just looks ridiculous. But of course, this is in contrast to the suit he gets later, which is where Osborn is sort of the Tony Stark of this, where obviously he's going to get a super suit because Spider-Man needs a super suit always, apparently.
Way to go, Disney.
Yeah.
This will be the 11th. I looked it up. This will be the 11th
Oh wow,
Spider-Man animated.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The only
I
one
thought
you
it'd be
need
a
is
lot more
Spider-Man
than
is
that.
Amazing Friends. Amazing Friends was the best one.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I
no,
mean,
there
I like
is
the
one
60s
called
series.
that right now. You're talking about the 81
Yeah, we're talking about the
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
But
Yes.
that is what the
With
current show is
Firestorm,
called.
yeah.
This is the
Firestar.
same title of the
Firestar,
ongoing.
yeah.
Okay.
He was created
There we
just-
go, there we go, there we
What was that?
Oh, I was saying she was created just for the cartoon and then became
Yeah, yeah.
canon later. Yeah.
Yeah.
go again. Swinging through the city so fast you could barely notice him.
I truly believe that I have these powers to help people, to protect them.
Need my city, you need me. Taking off the mask, I know what you see. Know you
You're Spider-Man. With my help, you'll achieve greatness.
Oh man, this suit's incredible! If you ever need another butt kicking, just look for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And no, you may not be excused from said test. Ah, nice of you to join us, Mr. Parker. See me after class.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't hate the animation and
I love the look of it.
Yeah, because it's very Kirby-esque. But what
Well,
I
it's Steve Ditko-esque.
or Ditko, I
Yeah.
mean, sorry,
Yeah.
like those colors and
It's fine.
The angles, yeah.
the flat, you know.
Sure.
Character design is terrible as far as I'm concerned. though.
Yeah, I mean, that's my problem. Is like it's got so many other issues to it.
I don't.
Costume. Both
like it.
costumes are terrible.
Yeah, because
The
why would you have the
wretched.
they give him the Future Foundation costume as the Osborn super suit. They give him this crazy, like I say, Paste Pot Pete Ben Riley combo for his original costume. I don't like. I mean, he looks like he's a character out of time. Like the Peter Parker's design here and like outfit and everything looks like he's about 30 years out of date to everybody else.
Yeah, it's 83.
And the soundtrack belongs to Miles Morales. I'm sorry, it just
That's what
doesn't.
everybody's been saying.
It doesn't fit here.
And I don't hate the remix aspect, but I don't like the rap parts to it. That's the thing. I don't
Yeah.
like.
And-
if they had just put Miles Morales in this, I don't think there would be any.
You don't think that's going to show up later, Chris?
Ought to, yeah. When this one gets killed,
Yeah. Or that's going to be an Amazon thing with the Spider-Man Noir thing does well. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon did a live action Miles Morales if the Spider-Man Noir does well over there.
oh sure.
Well, the thing you got to remember is that this will be good for the kids. That's what you got. This is this is what the kids want.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's funny is this was announced and been in production for years, so that's probably where a lot of the diversity shit comes from. And then on top of that, didn't we just have a recent story where Marvel was it just Marvel or was it Disney all as a whole were saying they had been underappreciating animation and we're like, oh well, duh.
Well, Disney underappreciating. Yeah, no kidding.
And they were calling it like a conservative art form or some shit like that. It was really stupid. I can't even remember what story it was attached to now, but it was like last week.
Yeah, when I first saw this, it took me a while to think about it, but I thought, Spider-Man comes across here more like Woody Allen Parker than anything else. And where's the bullying? This is the thing that I didn't understand. Like he's just sort of like this dupe, and I made a little revision to the title card. I just popped it up there, Tom, if you want to pull that up.
Now I do want to see a Woody Allen Spider-Man. I got tons of stuff I got to do, and if I don't do it, it's just I can't tell you that I'm Spider. Wait, I didn't say I'm Spider-Man, but just. Yeah,
well, the thing.
Where were you on that one? You left me hanging. You were supposed to do the voice.
It was great.
I know it's a cartoon and everything. I'm such a Spider-Man fanboy, at least old school Spider-Man, that looking at this and thinking, okay, Peter Parker would not try to be the jokey class clown. He'd be the button-down, stoic, shy, being bullied by somebody kind of kid. And then when he puts on the costume, that's the whole Bruce Banner versus the Hulk duality of personality and attitude. And that's when the jokey Spider-Man comes out. That's when Peter Parker feels like he can let down his guard. And to have him be the same character both in Secret Identity mode and Spider-Man mode.
That was the problem we had with Spider-Man in both Amazing Spider-Man and I think they, at least in my opinion, calibrated it a little bit better in the Homecoming version or whatever you want to call it, the MCU version of Tom Holland.
A little bit, yeah.
In that the problem is now, even since the original Spider-Man, and this is the same thing with like you can't make Revenge of the Nerds now or any of these kind of things because nerds are cool, right? Like nerd culture, this is what everything's about. So like somebody like Peter wouldn't be considered a nerd or a geek now unless you come up with some other reason for him to be considered that. And then it wouldn't be Peter Parker anymore. So like that's the compromise you have to make is, okay, well, so you make him just shy or you make him this or you make him that or whatever. But like, yeah. See, because that was the thing with Amazing Spider-Man. I'm like, this is not Peter Parker. He's too fucking cool to be Peter Parker. Like,
right, yeah. Andrew Garfield was way too neat, man.
Yeah. Now, Tobey Maguire more in line. Tom Holland can play the awkward, geeky Michael J. Fox kind of like, gee, cat, like Spider-Man kind of thing. So I like that. He's kind of like we never got the Michael J. Fox Spider-Man, but we kind of did with Tom Holland. But yeah, so like this whole thing with it does kind of feel like an Elseworld version of Homecoming, and I guess that's what it was conceived as, and that's why it's Harry Osborn instead of Tony Stark. But yeah, so I don't know, Andre, you've been quiet. What's your feelings on this?
Well, much the same as you guys. I mean, what I think is that luckily this thing isn't canon. It obviously takes place in a different place in the MCU. No one is even pretending that this is like the MCU Spider-Man or something like that, which makes this pretty harmless, just like What If. Yeah, it's obviously has issues. It was made or developed when Disney and Marvel went all in on activism. And then it comes out now when it's too late. So obviously it's just going to be another disaster. So whatever money they spent on it, they will never get back again. It'll have no viewers. It'll only tarnish the Spider-Man brand. But hey, luckily, we can just ignore it. And it's not going to matter anything. It'll be there for like the 2 seasons or 3 seasons or whatever are already in production. And then this thing is gone. It will make no waves, no nothing. So all I say, just ignore it.
It says season 2 has already been called, so
exactly that's what I'm saying. Obviously, because when they make these animated series, they don't do them season by season. No, they typically animate like 2, 3, 4 seasons in a row, and that's how these things get multiple seasons. It's not necessarily audience demand. It's this is how much that they prepped in advance. That's what we're getting, and that's going to be the thing here. If they have 2 seasons in development right away, we're going to get those 2 seasons, and then it's over. So yeah, that's my best suggestion here. Just ignore this thing, pretend it doesn't happen, and it'll be like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
To me, it's just more of the modern bullshit in that it's who he's interacting with and his pathetic little world. Somehow and the diversity of the world is the thing that the producers need to show all of us in this trailer, as opposed to him actually battling an individual. Like jump into the Spider-Man story, please. I don't need to see, how fabulously diverse you've made it. That's not the pat on the back. That's not your win. The win is give me a story. I want, like, the trailer needs to give us an idea of what an episode is going to look like.
This, or why is this different?
It's the story of an episode. This does not give it to me.
All this trailer does to me is tell me that everybody working on this at the top of the decision-making process was bummed that they couldn't use Miles Morales. Is it everything about this is completely out of place?
That's what everybody's been saying.
Yeah. It's like we have to use Peter Parker. Ah, dang it. Well, we'll do everything else exactly, but we still have to make Peter Parker then. I'm even more of a weenie than he was in school.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because of how the I think that it probably was meant to be a Miles Morales show, but there's probably something getting in the way of that since they did the Spider-Verse movie, even though Marvel Disney owns the rights to do any Spider-Man TV shows. I don't know about how that falls with if they have a version already in one area, because if you guys remember when they announced the Spider-Man Noir show that Nicolas Cage is in, it was supposed to be an animated show, but they switched it to live action so they could actually do it because they can't make an animated show. And then the same thing happened to that Gwen Stacy show. It's been disappeared. They haven't talked about it in forever. And that's what my understanding was, because I was trying to explain this to the guys this weekend too on Flash and on George's show and stuff like that yesterday about how convoluted the fucking Spider-Man rights are, right, with the license with Sony. And that's part of the problem. So it makes me wonder if there isn't something getting in the way of them doing that, and it might have been developed, and then at the last minute they realize we can't do that because it'll somehow be considered a Spider-Verse show, and they can't do it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe throwing it out there.
Listen to if you picture in this trailer Miles Morales rather than Peter Parker, all the dialogue sounds correct.
Exactly. Right. That's my point.
Yes.
It sounds like Miles Morales dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've whitewashed Miles Morales.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say? Okay, here's a scenario. I'll throw a scenario out there. Maybe Disney threw them a warning, you can't do Spider-Man Noir and Gwen Stacy animated show because, you know, we own the animated TV show rights, and they had planned on doing this, and then they're like, well, fuck you, then you can't do the one because we have certain say over the animated version of that since we made a movie of it. I don't know. See, that's the thing. We don't have all the rights to know what the deal is. It's so convoluted. So that's a very good possibility that this was developed as a fucking Miles Morales show, and they couldn't do it.
It feels like it. It feels like a
That's
compromise.
what I think. I think that something happened in the background. Yeah.
Everything else about this feels like it's meant for a completely different character. And again, his design in his street clothes and everything else feels like he's 30 years out of place from everybody else. And I think, and here I was just thinking, like, if you had to, like in the olden days, you were getting picked on because you were a nerd, because you're the outsider and everything else. In this scenario, the only thing that would make any sense is if he was picked on for his race. And you can't do that. Like if you're actually trying to like update it for modern audiences or something. And the bullying part of Peter Parker really is important to the character, where he's having to cower in real life in order to protect his secret identity. But in this one, everybody just seems like looking at him as like the kid brother or something, which is very bizarre element for the character to me. It doesn't feel very classic. Feels very awkward.
Not nearly as awkward as him and Harry Osborn hanging out in the boys' room.
Oh, geez, Harriet Osborn, and is the MJ character like, she looks like an Amazon compared to him when you look at
was
them,
that supposed to be MJ? Really?
I don't know. I'm assuming so.
Yeah,
there was a shot of a woman that looked kind of like MJ.
Yeah, there's a part where he's like next to the lockers and he's being like had his head patted on for being
RuPaul was there for a second. I know that, but I didn't know it was MJ.
Yeah. This looks.
Oh,
like
I don't know who the characters all are.
Harlem version of Spider-Man that should have had, what's his name in it, and then they decided to switch him for Peter Parker.
Yep.
Or
we're forced to. We're forced to.
Yeah, that's what I think is more of a forced thing. But let's see what the audience is talking about here. Mikey's in the house, even though he's in the credits and he should be here. I thought that we got rid of busing. Why is Peter Parker going to high school in Compton? I know, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Hyperguyver 2 says that Spider-Man trailer gave me cancer.
No, I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Well, maybe Tony Stark will visit you. Yeah, or monkeypox.
Yeah.
That's actually much more likely when you look at like some of these characters. I mean, they're absolutely in the risk zone.
Oh Jesus, Andre, that was pretty dark. Chaos Sonic 1 says in 5, it says, I am mixed on the rap theme song. It's making me lose interest in parts of the Spider-Man is iffy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't mind the remix half of it, but the rap. Why do they got to remix something and then add the rap to it? That's what pissed me off about Axel F. I'm like watching the movie. I'm like, okay, I'm fine with them using all the classic tracks from Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. But then all of a sudden you get this fucking rap version of the Axel F theme. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
well, Tom, Eddie Murphy's black.
I know. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
You have to have rap. If there's a black person around, there has to be some kind of rap beat to it. Don't you know that?
You know how you can tell this was not made for a white character? Because his pants weren't halfway down his knees and his underwear wasn't showing.
Oh,
because it's the white kids that are always imitating.
There's a word for that, but I don't even think I can say it. Like, at least that's a word. We had a word for it back in the 90s, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with a W. Let's put it that way, and it sounds like another word. No.
Yeah.
I don't tempt him, but yeah.
I'm not going to say anymore. Jason Webster says even Spider-Ham would have been better than this. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get a Spider-Ham cartoon yet, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not kosher.
No, Kaleki says you guys are looking at this in the wrong angle. It's another Spider-Man show that Peter is in high school. Again, can we move past this for fuck's sake? You know, this has been one of the biggest debates in the world. And I come from the old school where pretty much Peter Parker was perpetually in high school for like ever. And I know he went to college and I know he did other things, but for some reason I get it. And I tell people this all the time. Like, we've had several movies where he wasn't in high school. In fact, the part 2 and 3 of the first Spider-Man movies, he wasn't in high school anymore. And was he still in high school in Amazing? I don't think he was in part 2.
No, he was in part 1.
He was in part 1, I know, but not in part 2, I don't think. So, like, yeah, I mean, I get it, but Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
the Archies were in high school forever.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was different though, because remember that because people have different associations from the comics depending on when they come in them. Like for instance, to me, Spider-Man has always been a young adult, or like someone adult working, someone in his mid to late 20s, because that's the Spider-Man that I read. So I was never like into teenage Spider-Man, because that's something that I only read much later, and sadly that's what everyone seems to be obsessed with among the people who create these things.
Yeah, and as
So,
Paul D
yeah.
says in the chat, to me, Peter Parker's always that high school whiz kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Dark King says Spider Trans, fucks whoever the writer has no plot consistency, catches whoop like the fleas. Look out. Here comes the Spider Trans. Watch out for monkeypox. Here comes the Spider Trans. Now I'm
Can
going
beat
to
up
jail.
girls in the Olympics.
Swimming champion.
That's right.
Oh, no.
That's right. Yep. Rugby champ.
Yeah.
Can beat up girls in a hamp. Whatever. I get up.
Nah. That was good, Dark King. Thank you for that. We need that laugh there. And then Joel Familia, if I'm saying that right, I think, sends in 5 and says, as far as Spider-Man cartoons go, none of them can be compared to the 94's Spider-Man, the animated series. Well, that's what I mean. There's like 3 or 4 that everybody kind of holds up there as the main ones, and then there's just dozens of other crappy ones.
Yeah.
I like the animation in this one.
That's the one thing
like
I don't dislike.
No, that's one of the least things that bother me about this.
That's fine. And I don't think it is. They were planning on doing Miles Morales, because you look at those Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, those are really stylized. And I think it would be a bad business decision to try to put out a different type of Miles
That's
Morales
probably
game.
what happened too. I mean, that could have been just that. It could have just somebody at the last minute said, you know what, this is not going to work because this is too much like Spider-Verse.
Well, they're not really taking any chances. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
This is kind of safe animation.
Well, that's why I agree with Paul on the whole what they're showing us in the trailer here. I mean, the show might be all right. We don't know that yet. But the trailer, that's all it's showing is look at the diversity in this world. If you don't know anything about Spider-Man, looking at this trailer, I don't see how this gets you into Spider-Man at all.
One of the writers of the Spider-Man series at Marvel, his name was Dan Slott, and I remember one of his social media posts. I think Marvel eventually told him he needed to get off Twitter, but he said, if you're going to give me a description of Peter Parker and you list off 10 or 12 attributes of him, the one thing you should never say is that he's white. So he was virtue signaling back in 2015 before virtue signaling was cool. So I think that's probably part and parcel for what's going on at the Disney Marvel culture, right? It's not necessarily that they're just naturally using this rainbow of colors in the palettes of melanin that they're using. It's intentional and it's obvious, and we're only the bad people because we point it out. You know, it's like, hey, I noticed what you did there. Oh, you weren't supposed to notice, you bigot.
Yeah, at least we used to be the bad people. I don't think that anyone really feels that way anymore.
No. I agree.
But traditionally, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then John Apocalypse says with 2 pounds, the CGI looks worse than the Spidey show from 03. I kind of disagree on this one, John Apocalypse. I think the animation looks pretty smooth and I get what they're doing. I actually like this more than I like the Spider-Verse style, because this actually evokes comic book to me, right? You have that flat, comic book look, and with Spider-Verse, it was like, okay, yeah, I get it what you're doing, but when everything looks like it does in that movie, it's like headache inducing compared to this. This seems smooth and kind of fresh and vibrant, but the story and what they're presenting to us, like, that's where I agree with Paul on. It's like that's not presenting us anything that's any good.
I think Apocalypse is talking about that show that really did try to do computer.
That was the one
animation.
That was a spin-off of the movie, wasn't it?
No, it was called the New Animated Series. It came in 2003.
Yes, it's true. I remember that.
And
it's
really,
one of those things that tried too hard.
Yeah, it did. And you could tell it was all computer animated, but it was almost skinned with comic book
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. I thought that was a
Okay.
spin-off of the Toby Maguire Spider-Man.
It
I
came
don't-
after that. It
Yeah,
was
Wasn't it
like,
on
kind of like a
MTV
mix
or
of
whatever?
that.
It was
It was
03.
like a semi-sequel of that, but also it took a lot from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which were all the rage at the time. So it was kind of like a mix of the two. It was like this kind of sequel to the Raimi movies, but not really. So yeah, you have the right idea. And it's one of those series that's largely forgotten today because it really didn't hold up well.
Yes.
I think it was on
Not because of
MTV.
the
It's the one I'm
animation.
thinking of.
It does have an MTV vibe. Yeah, and it might have
Yeah.
gotten even promoted there.
Yeah.
I look visually, there are some acceptable elements of it. I hate the suit just like Scribe does. I'm basically hating on this entire concept. And I agree with all the little captions that were being put up here, so far. This is anything but a Spider-Man that's relatable. This is activist Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the art style is very Ditko-esque, and I can appreciate that. I mean, I don't mind the animation of the art style itself. Character design, like I said, is completely wrong for Spider-Man. The suggestion that Norman Osborn is going to, like somebody in the chat said, Peter Parker was supposed to be the whiz kid amongst everybody else, and that's what kind of made him an outsider, is that he was thinking about things beyond the mundane, sort of social quibbles of teenagers. And then, of course, now Norman Osborn is going to one-up Spider-Man on his own shtick. I've got a better suit for you. I've got web shooters that don't require, fire hoses to be attached to your wrists.
Yeah,
It
well, I
just
already see a
seems-
couple of
yeah.
problems here. First of all, when he's Spider-Man in his first get-up, he ain't got nothing on his fingers. He's leaving fingerprints all over the motherfucking place. And then when he's in the Osborn suit, I'd be kind of worried about, isn't Osborn tracking me or possibly figuring out in some way, shape, or form who I am?
I'm wondering if the Osborn suit isn't a shortcut to a Venom type situation without having to do the space alien thing.
Possibly that, or
That's
wasn't there a storyline in the books?
Yeah, I
they
think in one of the Ultimate versions or something there was I think it was where like Venom wasn't an alien entity, but he was like an AI nanobot thing or something instead to try to save themselves the time of the space alien Secret Wars deal. I can't remember them all, but
Yeah, and I could see them doing that as like a shorthand to get to the Sinister Six kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a few about Momoa though playing Lobo, since I don't know if we have anything more to say about Spider-Man, but actor Tori Atkins sends in $4.99, says, what do you guys think of Momoa playing Lobo in the upcoming Supergirl movie was just revealed on Deadline? Well, we brought it up a few minutes ago and nobody was really all that surprised. We all kind of assumed this was going to happen. I mean, I'd said that that was what that phone call was all about, that whole thing. That's what I had heard from my people
If
too.
we're honest, I think we would be very disappointed if it didn't happen.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
He
And
was
then
made to
Nick-
play that character.
I do want to mention one thing about the, you asked earlier, Tom, if Lobo appeared in the original 8-issue comic series. The character did not.
Okay, see, that's going along more with what I was saying. See, because a lot of people were like really concerned about how Tom King was going to be involved with this new DC thing, that because Gunn has his little panel of people. Go ahead, Culture was one of them. And I said, just wait until we see what Supergirl turns out to be, because if it's the storyline that Tom King wrote, well, then that's how we know. If it's not, then he's there for other reason, and it's more so, and I think that's the case, because Gunn is overseeing everything DC, right? Like, not just the movies. He's overseeing everything, and he wants a synergy with everything. So I think that's why he's got people from the comic department, people from the animation department, people from TV, and so on, all in this little bubble. So that, I don't think that means anything about Tom King actually being a part of the story. Now, they might pick and choose a few elements out of those stories, but that would be my guess, considering the history of James Gunn and what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
I also find it interesting that, we talk a lot about how a lot of the comic movies are made based on stories that aren't from the classic eras or known artists or writers and things. The studios make up their own, or they do some kind of pastiche or something. Is it weird to me that, and not necessarily a bad thing in spirit, even if it might be an individual problem, that an actual comic book writer is so seemingly directly involved in a property that he had a hand in, like Supergirl?
It's not bad if comic book writer is involved with that, but it is bad when it is this particular.
No.
And
I
what
don't
I'm
think about
saying
the
is I don't
I'm
think
talking
he's
about the
in any
rarity
of-
of it. I'm talking about the
And I don't-
rarity of the event that you have a comic book writer directly involved in a property with one of these studios,
Miller,
because that
Frank
seems
Miller. Frank Miller.
odd. Well, okay. I mean, DC Marvel. I'm talking about, like, actually bringing in. Yeah.
But no, in this case, my whole point I'm getting is I don't think Tom King is as involved in the movie side of things as we all think he is, or people think he is. He might get an executive producer credit on this, and they may be pulling some elements from his books. But other than
that would kind of be against what King was saying, because he was saying on his threads, or who knows, Blue Sky, I don't know where he said it, something about Tom King being heavily involved.
He did say that at some point.
Yeah. Now, he could just be paying lip service to comic book fans. One never
he also
knows,
said Flash was one of the greatest comic book movies of all time.
I know. I don't trust none. I'm sorry, guys. I enjoy the Guards Galaxy. I don't trust him.
And I'm not even trying to make excuses for him or anything, but he's just doing his fucking job at this point, right? Like if I was the head of McDonald's and somebody come up to me and says, "Do you think your burgers are bad for people?" I'd be like, "No, they're fucking great for everybody. They're beef. They're this." Of course, because I'm being paid to fucking say that.
Well, Stan
right?
Lee never said a bad thing about a single comic book that he published. So they weren't all fantastic, I can assure you. So. And that's
but it looks like Culture wants to say something.
Look, I think everybody here has kind of reflected my ideas on Lobo. I think he's going to be a fine Lobo, more so than he was ever in Aquaman. So, I'm very much looking forward to that. What I'm not looking forward to is the all cock of it all. But we'll find out how that goes.
Is she that bad of an actress?
She's just doesn't seem.
I was just happy that she was white and blonde. I don't see a problem.
I thought he just wanted to mention all cock. That's all.
He just wants to say cock again. He likes to say cock a lot.
He's cocking it up.
He's cocky. As Nick says here, Momoa was cast as Lobo for Supergirl. You've been warned. Yeah. You sent this just before we got to it, Nick. Good seeing you in the chat, buddy. You can catch Nick on Midnight's Edge After Dark with us.
Hail Nick
every
Weiser.
Tuesday and Thursday. Yes, indeed. All 32 flavors of him. So yeah, and then we got a £1.99 super sticker from Dr. Long Dongler reminding you to hit that pound button. I know there's a few 100 people watching right now, 1,000 altogether, including X. So please hit that like or hit that heart or whatever the hell you want to call it on X, and we appreciate that if you do.
We got all kinds of comic book movie news today, don't we?
Yeah, we did. And then Nick Weiser sent in another one for $5 and says, many shots of the forests and cities looked like soon-to-be covers of the future black metal albums. I think he was talking about Nosferatu.
Well, absolutely. You do have those visuals.
I basically already wrote a rock musical for Nosferatu. I've got all the music written and everything with words and everything.
Wow.
I wrote it all for that stuff. We're getting it ready to hopefully get our Blu-ray together of the retrospective.
Before long here.
Yeah. So it'll all go on there.
Do you have something like Final Countdown in there? So like I can
kind of. You should hear the song. I dropped 2 of the songs or so on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Francisco Sanchez Jr. sends in 5 and says, my top 5 of 2024 is Infested. I don't know that one. The King Tide, don't know that one either. Mad S, not familiar with that one. Nosferatu, that one I know. And Milk and Cereal. I don't know any of those. Are those are those like streaming films or something? Is maybe that why I don't know them? Or Korean films or something? I don't know. Yeah, well, there you go. And then we got Dark Hero Fan who says Nosferatu may Nosfera you. Not for you. May not for you.
Not for you.
Not for everyone. I think that's what he's trying to say. It's not for everyone. Yeah.
Or it's a University of Vampires from the 20s Germany or something.
I went to Nosferatu. KS Sonic 1 says I prefer Sonic 3 to be top. I'm fine if Nosferatu beats it. I just don't want the cash grab Mufasa to win, as that movie no one asked for. Well, Sonic 3 did win the day, it sounds like, and Nosferatu, though, actually is the real winner if you step back and look at it, because if Nosferatu actually had the same amount of screens as the other 2 films, it probably would be the #1 film right now.
And also, relative to budget, which one is the more successful movie of the 3 big ones out right now?
Oh, yeah.
Nosferatu, basically. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's what you have to compare. You don't have to compare it with the others, which cost 4 to 5 times as much to make, but against itself and its own budget. And relative to that, it's the winner of the 3 ones. I'm so happy for it because it deserves it. And also Eggers deserved the financial success.
Did you get to see it yet, Scribe?
Which one?
Nosferatu.
No, not yet, unfortunately. No.
Okay, I was just wondering because I know you got to leave us pretty soon. But anyway, go ahead. You were saying something, Culture?
No, it's just I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it by the end of Tuesday. So by the end of tomorrow, I will have seen Nosferatu because I want to review it and talk about it. So
awesome! Can't wait for that.
JWT6577 sends in $5. Says, don't horror booms tend to happen during crap economies, late 70s, mid 80s, late 90s? No, it's actually usually. Sorry. Usually it's in times when we're not as we're happier, right? Like if there's horrific things going on, bad things going on, we generally tend to gravitate towards more fantasy, like happier things. But that's just kind of you can't really go by it as a science or a math either, though. I mean, because you'll have exceptions all the time. Horror is just the one genre that because it's got there's so many things you can do in it. And the other thing that works for it is that a lot of the versions of horror films that we can make are so cheap that they make so much money back, like the Friday the 13th and stuff like the slasher genre, for instance. So that's kind of another reason why they're kind of evergreen or whatever you want to call it, or popular. Because as long as you make
and
that,
let's
or you
not forget the most important thing. We're not actually in a horror boom. It only looks like it because all of the movies that really should be booming right now didn't get made, or they're not good enough. So the horror was always going to be there in the background, and that's what's happening. But now those background movies, the ones that do good, look like they're booming. The real that we should have had just ain't there.
Do you think Nosferatu will bring horror back to a marquee status rather than like a also ran kind of deal in the theaters?
I think it might. But carry on.
We've already kind of had a bit of a in the last year or two with like we have the elevated horror and kind of the higher end horror, and we have other kinds of options now. You have the Five Nights at Freddy's type of stuff too, and the Megans and all that kind of stuff. It's such a broad thing now that there's so many things that you can plug into it. It's one of those few things that you don't have to have a franchise to build off of and sell it. It's its own thing, right? Like look at Terrifier is a great example, right? Like it just nobody knew what the fuck that was, and it just came out and boom, and made a shit ton of money. So like, I mean, you don't have to have 7 sequels initially to get a franchise going for a horror franchise is my point. So, yeah.
No, what I mean is that instead of being like a little side stepchild of the film industry, that it's, you know, a respected genre again, sort of like you go back to like the 70s and The Exorcist and movies like that. Or is it a one-off? Do you think it's a one-off, or do you think it maybe opened the doors to having a respectable?
Honestly, I think it's been this way since Scream. Because that kind of changed things a little bit. I mean, The Exorcist is another good example. You're not wrong there. But Scream was one of the first ones that really, like, where the studios paid attention. They're like, well, these things can make not just money, but they can make lots of money. So, I don't know. That's just my feeling is ever since Scream, they've taken them very seriously. They don't treat them like they used to since then. That's my recollection anyway. If you guys have any different,
well, I'm mixing my definitions here. So mature horror, not like slasher horror.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, like mature horror being taken seriously. That like I say, you got The Exorcist.
We've had that for a while. Even
like
Silence of the Lambs. I mean, that's the thing. The thing is they're usually hidden under other names.
Well, Silence of the Lambs, I'd probably put more like a thriller.
No, it's a slasher film. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
But I'm like supernatural horror stuff.
You even have your final girl.
No,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think Andre might be right. As far as gothic, like mature horror, I mean, we have a few movies every once in a while, but I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if this thing stays and this thing keeps making money at the box office for the next month or two, it's hard to say. It could spark something. I just don't know what. I think the mixed reaction the audience is having to it is going to come back to haunt it a little bit, though. That's, I think, going to be a problem. But I think unintended. But it might be received more like Bram Stoker's Dracula in the end, because a lot of people, for some reason, feel like that movie wasn't well received when it first came out, and it wasn't so much by the critics and whatnot, but it did very, very well at the box office, and now it's very beloved. Like most people love it, so I think it'll be a lot like that. People will come around to it later.
Yeah.
But anyway,
once people get used to the idea that this wasn't quite what they had anticipated, again, it's not a vampire movie.
But anybody who loves stuff like Sleepy Hollow, The Haunting, is that Victorian horror movie? Unless I'm getting it mixed up with another one. Stuff like that. The Exorcist, I think you're right, was a big good comparison to this. We get them once in a while. I think it might be due for a comeback, though. You never know. Grimzilla says, I told you Nosferatu was going to happen. I don't know if it did or not, but is Bill Skarsgård the new Lon Chaney or Boris Karloff? Well, it's a good comparison.
Well, he's actually getting there because he's doing all kinds of roles like that, isn't he?
Somebody said something to me the other day, and I was almost like, I don't know, but maybe. Freddy Krueger.
Sure got the stink off the Crow.
You know, that film was so bad. I didn't think that he'd be able to.
He must have got paid pretty good for that.
Yeah, but I didn't think he would recover from that. This Nosferatu is looking like it might help an awful lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
I still don't like his Pennywise, but
I thought he did fine, but you and I can.
He's fine as the scary part. He just didn't have an alternative.
Sure. But I do believe Lily Rose Depp is kind of in that same ballpark now.
Is she the new Christina Ricci? Oh, she's better. She's her new father, just the female version.
Yeah,
if she can keep going this way.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely got the ability to draw on what's around her to act off of, and that's something that you need to have if you're going to play those.
See, Christina Ricci was kind of that. She didn't have this kind of level of. Lily Rose is like a.
She was also kind of the exotic looking young girl that kind of really sold her early on. You know, she had a little bit of, weight in her cheeks and stuff like that. Looking kind of cherubesque and stuff like that. It was hard to like really place her.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out who is a good comparison for Lily. I don't know if there is one.
I don't think so. I think, but she definitely has the ability to deliver off of her environment, and that's really something that you need to have if you're going to play.
I hate to sound sexist, but I can only compare her to men right now because I can't think of any women that were that good and would go to that extent. For
Bonham Carter,
maybe. I don't know.
Ava Green. But she's older, obviously, when she started out.
Yeah,
or when she became
maybe
famous.
like I don't know, because
Ava Green would have gone to that extent if you saw the second 300 movie. I'm just telling you.
What was the character actress that played Mrs. White in Clue?
Mrs. White? Oh, that was.
It's been a while.
Oh, suddenly it's to my tongue.
But she played many a character in her acting time, and she was so good at those.
I hate it's killing me.
Maybe Paulie can think of a good comparison for Lily Rose.
Madeline Kahn.
Madeline Kahn, that's what it was. I kept thinking, why am I thinking of Ricardo Montalban suddenly when I'm thinking about that?
Rich Corinthian.
Madeline Kahn was a great character actress. Man,
but Lily Rose
aren't modern. There aren't modern comparisons. I think that's what we're struggling with.
Who are you trying to compare what to?
Anybody.
Lily Rose Depp to another
like a Helen Mirren almost.
By the way,
Rose Depp.
I
mean,
want to say
I've only seen her in one film, so I don't.
Okay.
I've seen her in a few, and she impressed the piss out of me in this one. So,
Paulie,
no doubt.
Paulie, are we all going to ignore the fact that your lip is naked?
I hate the fact that when he's
this has been true for a while,
motherfucker turns like 12.
Right,
it's bullshit.
I figured Paulie's mustache ran away and joined Culture's beard somewhere. It's in there.
Still
run away. We're almost
10 years older than me.
How you doing, Chris? Good to see you, man.
We're almost a New Year.
So anyhow, I wish I could think of a good comparison there, Grimzilla. Joel Familia says with another 5. One movie that doesn't get enough recognition is Werner Herzog's 79 Nosferatu remake. By far the most superior Nosferatu remake. This one's superior, in my opinion. But that one's a good one. That one's a very good one. But
and you should be aware that we are working on the ultimate perspective for that right now in this moment.
Nice, cool.
Yeah, Andre keeps threatening me with that.
Yeah.
Get to work, Tom. Get to work.
This weekend I almost killed myself, man. You have no idea. Dash Attack says, love that fans can really can. I think he means rally and invest in Sonic without worrying, or really invest. I don't think End is supposed to be there then. Maybe invest in Sonic without worrying about it, disrespecting the source material. That change things, yes, but there's no malice. Yeah, no,
I agree with that. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Dash Tech then also says the irony of Sonic competing with Disney are his cameos in Wreck-It Ralph and the sequel that doesn't exist, like Highlander 2. I mean, I didn't hate Wreck-It Ralph 2, but it wasn't that great. No.
To his first comment, I mean, this is what we talk about when it's like respecting the character and the core of the character. Like the first Iron Man movie wasn't an exact one-for-one remake of the first appearance of Iron Man in Tales of Suspense 39, but it had all of the elements there, plus some stuff from the modern version, and it was a love letter to the character. You didn't feel like someone was using that character to push on some element that didn't fit. And so the Sonic we see in the movies, I now admittedly I am not a Sonic lore master, so I don't know what is or is not exactly canon for the video games. But it all feels like these are people that appreciate the source material and are willing to build off of it in a way that feels organic to fans. And that's
he runs fast.
Yeah, he runs very fast, and there's golden rings.
And he goes in rings.
And he's blue.
Right.
And if you push the down and the B, the Y or whatever, they'll go.
Okay, Tom is a true fan. He knows what's going on.
He goes really fast.
Yeah, fast. He's fast.
Guy's so fast.
And he's got blast processing.
Blast processing. Oh man, I can't tell you how excited I was about blast processing back in the day.
That's everything. We don't know what the fuck it is, but it's everything. Yeah. Nosferatu 2024 nearly doubled its initial domestic projection, says Jason Webster. It did indeed, and I think it could have done so much better had it more screens. Doesn't open of its international markets until early in the new year, and I think it'll do very well internationally. I think this movie will play very well internationally. What was the reaction that you got, Andre, when you like just not your review yet, but like just the reaction you got from people around you that felt
well, you have to be aware, of course, that this was an advanced screening, so only the people that were really aware of the movie and who couldn't wait for it, they were the ones that were going to come to this screening. My impression was that people generally were very pleasantly surprised. Some were in shock because it wasn't the movie that they were expecting, especially some of the ladies in the audience were like almost shell-shocked, but in a good way. Like, holy shit, I have to tell others about this amazing movie so they have this experience too. But yeah, no, I got the impression that the response was overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, I can see women having a weird reaction.
Well, they wanted it to be like Twilight, right?
Yeah, especially if you go and you expect some kind of like dark romance thing, you're going to be shocked. Yeah,
it's dark romance, all right. We're talking like
yeah, but it's a lot like remember I said this over a month ago when I had seen it. I'm like, I don't know how the mainstream audience is going to react to this.
It's been a mixed bag.
Been mixed. You know, not because it's bad. It's just because it's you know, for lack of better words, it's pretty avant-garde.
I mean, there's going to be a group of people who just don't like it just because of the way it is. Like, they're just not into this kind of movie
with this artistic take.
There's going to be some people who love it because they're into the macabre, you know, Tim Burton-esque kind of Victorian horror kind of shit. They're going to be those people are going to eat it up. But I think the people who are really going to appreciate it are the people like Andre and I who have been just bombarded with this stuff for the last few months here. I mean, to see this come alive on screen, it's like, I'm sure he feels the same way I do, is that I don't know if we could have done any better ourselves.
But here's the thing, though. Actually, because the movie came out doesn't mean that we automatically are going to love it. Remember, we did also a really comprehensive retrospective before Beetlejuice. And Tom, you were super excited for Beetlejuice. How much do you love Beetlejuice?
I didn't. I hope
No,
they
exactly.
don't get
That's kind of like the point. The only thing
Uh-huh.
that us doing that it really raised our expectations because we know the source material now all so much better that I actually appreciated the 1979 Herzog movie, a movie that I absolutely used to love, and I appreciated it less after doing all that research.
Hmm.
And I saw just how different it is from the original source material, of course, and I learned to appreciate it again for what it is, which is something very different from what the Eggers movie is. So I appreciate it on its own terms, but I see it less as a Nosferatu movie than I did before after having done all that extensive research.
But I got to imagine, like, because Andre and I were sitting here going back and forth about this thing, and we're basically having like this, film. We're just tearing the movie apart, the original, and we're getting into all the themes, the elements of it, what it's really all about, and all this stuff. And I feel like Eggers must have sat down and had a similar conversation with somebody that he and I had just before writing this movie. And he totally got it, right? Like we had the same kind of conversation. I feel like we must have.
Yeah, I think so too. There's no way we didn't. There's no way that he didn't.
Because he hit every single fucking note that we did. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like like I said, we couldn't have wrote it better ourselves. I mean, we may have done a few things a little different.
No, it's a work of art.
But at the end of the day, he managed to see everything we saw in it and get those elements, get the themes, elevate them, connect the tissue a little bit better, make the characters more real. Because that original film is very 1920s. I mean,
This is high level. This is a watermark moment. For Eggers, and it's been a great year for horror films. I recently saw Heretic. Wow,
that's been on a few of the lists that people.
I want to see that one. Yeah,
that was incredible. And just the level of horror, and the diversity and I'm not talking about the ethnic makeup in horror, the horror act. I'm talking about the diversity of stories in horror this year. It's kind of blown me away, man. It's kind of
horror's always kind of been diverse. That's the beauty of it. Horror's always been diverse, not just in.
I'm not. I'm not talking. I'm talking about the
Scribe, I think, has to leave us. So why don't you plug your Where's Scribe and head on out?
Sure. So Thursday, oh my gosh, the first day of the new year and the first TED Excellence of 2025. Polly, I found the TEDx for the new weight
I hate
stigma.
To be but Thursday is actually the second day of the new year.
Oh, pardon me, my bad. That's right. Okay, well, my first Thursday of the new year and my first
show of the new year.
But Polly, I found the presentation by the new San Francisco weight stigma executive.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So I have that ready. If at some point on a Thursday you happen to be free, we can do that one.
Yeah, because
if you guys didn't know, San Francisco just appointed a weight stigma executive or an anti-weight stigma executive to the city. We don't know what this person does, but she has a TEDx talk from 7 years ago saying that weight isn't something to worry about.
Yeah, I made some calls. This woman is the same woman that greenlit the latest Spider-Man animated series.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes perfect sense then.
What?
But otherwise, so Thursday will be TED Excellence.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure which one I'll do yet for the new year, but we'll see. That'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on my channel, and there might be various streams in between. And other than that, appreciate you guys having me on again. Nice to talk about some Spider-Man stuff, even if it's this Spider-Man. I like talking about. I've been a Spider-Man fan since I was a little kid. I love Spider-Man. I don't like what they've been doing with them, especially in the animation department now. But hope springs eternal, and hope everybody has a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Don't overdo it, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys.
Take care. Thanks for joining us.
See you,
All right. And then we've got some more here. We got Jeremy Hembry, who's become a member. Thanks for that. John Apocalypse has been here for 27 months. Wow. Thank you for that. Jason Webster's sends an Australian 5 and says, favorite films of 2024, Eczema, however you say that, Upspring, Nosferatu, Hijack 1971, Dune Part 2, The Substance, Mission Cross, Don't buy the seller and the beekeeper. The beekeeper was really good too. I
mean,
just
what
don't
if-
understand.
Don't
What's
eat the
that?
tacos because it'll give you eczema revenge.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
DS Ford has been a member for 38 months. Thank you for that. I thought Paul fell asleep there for a minute. Superman Lives sends in his 16-month member chat and says, for the record, thinks the only reason Strange New Worlds is still canon is coming Academy. Skydance don't care about. It's a matter of sending it out to die. I mean, here's the thing. They can say it's canon now, but vicariously it'll all still be spun off of whatever they say about the stupid shit in that giant freaking robot article about, the Enterprise being different and all that crap. It don't matter. It's all still in the same damn universe timeline, alternate bullshit they're going to fucking ignore. In 5 years from now, nobody's going to be talking about any of this shit. When they do...
Who's talking about it right now? The
Exactly,
only reason
but now-
anyone is elation that it might be removed from canon and hope to that effect. Beyond that, no one is talking about it anywhere. I mean, yeah, you have like web pages and Facebook groups with 10 people. That's who's talking about it.
I was just going to say, I'm willing to put money on the next big anniversary Star Trek has, that almost all of this stuff is almost completely ignored when they do like highlight reels and shit. You watch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mark my words. About as much as what was in that Star Trek short thing with Shatner is about how much they'll acknowledge. That's about it. You maybe get 2 shots of Mikey Spock, maybe Pike. Anyway, yeah. But I think I agree. It's just a matter of time of getting past all this crap at this point. Francisco Sanchez Jr. sends in 5 and says, Milk and Cereal is a found footage horror movie. It was released on YouTube this summer and cost $800. Made by a comedy duo who have other shorts as well. Well, awesome. Sounds like it worked out for them. Maybe some to check out.
Awesome.
Pack and Proton sends in 10 and says, Paul. You hear, Paul?
Yep.
How would you have rewritten Ghostbusters Frozen Empire so it was good? I would have kept the focus on the broken containment unit, use that as a process to go into business as Ghost Corps rather than, and then he has another $10 to follow up that. Have it established, eliminate Ghost Girl, have Phoebe working at Ghost Corps, accidentally release the villain, have Peter discover his student is psychic and send him in that way. Also, he has. This is for Spider-Man.
Wow.
Never mind. This Spider-Man stuff. Okay, so
I had less problems with this movie than the first one, where they kept the old guys in abeyance for way too long. I mean, this is certainly better than Ghostbusters 2016. And it was kind of up. I mean, it we all mentioned that it felt like strange new Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, Stranger Ghostbusters, right?
I'm also convinced there's like 20 minutes left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, you know what? As a Ghostbusters movie, I didn't have a lot of problems with this. I mean,
because there's a few things that are set up and then they come back later, but then they
didn't
don't
pay
have.
off. Yeah.
Well, they don't have the middle part to kind of make it pay off.
And they have way too many kids that they're trying to juggle and give them stories, things like that.
Have you guys noticed recently that seems to be happening too often?
Well,
Like,
and the problem with Ghost...
Hold on, let him finish. Yeah.
But in order, and Tom, I'm sure you're going to want to talk about this real quick, but and it's because they have to meet all these diversity boxes that they put too many people in. Yeah. Well, you and I think similarly when it comes to that.
Well, that was because I was going to say, because the one thing I would have done right off the bat was, why is that one chick even at Ghost Corps? She shouldn't even be there. She was a fucking waitress.
Right.
What in her, besides being one of the Ghostbusters for 5 seconds, and then I think she turned into a terror dog, what qualifies her to be working there? So just get rid of her character. All you got to do is have Stranger Things kid just calling her on the phone or something. There's her cameo. That's all you need, right? Same thing with why is podcast there? That kind of works against the friend ghost story, because that was the other thing too, is like there's a connective tissue thing missing here, because she brings up what is it like to be a ghost, and then you jump to the end where she's all of a sudden positive that it's not going to kill her. That tells me at some point in between there, she tested that machine on something alive. Because remember, she asked. So they don't even show us that. So it feels like there's things that are missing. And then there's also the part where like the one chick gets the one that we were just talking about, the diversity chick from the first one or last one anyway. She gets frozen, and then in the next shot she's fine, but she's got a blanket and all this stuff, and she's acting like she damn near died and stuff, and all these other people are dead. So it feels like there's a whole section there that's missing.
Isn't Frozen Empire the one with the lesbian ghost scene?
Yes, that's where everybody was talking about the lesbian ghost thing, and that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking it's missing context to help people understand what's really going on here, because people I think are misinterpreting her just wanting to have a friend that's a ghost because she wants to know what it's like to be a ghost for a lesbian love relationship that culture was talking about. But then I had the flip side where people had zero problems with the same exact plot in Beetlejuice 2, because that's exactly the same plot.
What?
The ghost boy uses her to get to the real world.
Yeah. But because it's a straight relationship,
nobody had a problem with it.
No one said shit. Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't care about, both didn't bother me at all.
That's what I said. Both, as far as that goes, I said they were both very poorly done. I had issues with Ghostbusters that were beyond that, but everybody was so
they were transfixed on that.
Yeah, some of these things are 2020 issues in the sense that I could see this script having been done. And then you look at it and you go, okay, this is pretty good. And then you shoot it. And then it's only after you're done, you go, you know what? It didn't pull together the way we initially thought, because every single stage is its own creative effort. You think you got the best script. Now, that being said, there's a habit with modern movies that people don't really want to talk about. I mean, we've talked about, what is this? The bookmarking or whatever they call for, what Disney is doing with the Marvel movies. Shooting endless scenes and seeing what they come up with. Scrapbooking. Thank you. But don't forget, Ridley Scott works this way too. There's a whole bunch of very high-priced people out there that for whatever reason choose not to get the entire movie together in some kind of coherent script mode, because they believe that a certain amount of the excitement of a movie must come from improvisation. So a lot of movies these days are not made with locked down scripts the way people think they're being made. Actually, for Gladiator 1, there was a shit ton of improvisation, more than you would possibly imagine for a movie with that kind of budget. But when you're talking about, I guess for me, the analogy is you go, wow, dude, you F1 racers, you really go really fast. That's amazing. Well, you talk to any F1 race car driver, they don't think they're going very fast. And it's the same with movie makers on the level of Ridley Scott, is that, I'll take $100 million. I only need a quarter of the film done. We'll do it. We'll figure it out as we shoot. People don't understand that this hubris exists in Hollywood. So you see a movie like Frozen Empire, and I'm always thinking, okay, how much of this script was actually done, and how much of it is the hubris of the filmmakers who are going to go, we'll take the $200 million, and we'll just figure it out as we go. That is what is going on a lot in Hollywood these days, as opposed to the good old days, which is why the movies are feeling weirdly similar.
What you just explained was the difference between Ghostbusters 1984 and Ghostbusters 2016.
No, but I'm saying there probably a lot of the same is still being done.
I don't know how much of improv they would have done in this. I think culture.
I would say 50%.
I don't know about that.
No, modern movies are not really locked down.
Jason Reitman's not one who's real big on improvisation. I don't think.
Okay. I
could be wrong, but
I think it depends on the creator, right? Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's the thing. I think, the thing with Ghostbusters is, I think Culture and I are more, this is my opinion, obviously, but I think we're more on here that the problem with this movie was it was too overloaded with too much shit. And I think they were trying to set up things to spin off of and all this other thing, and they got ahead of themselves. They put the cart before the horse.
Too much. But I like this better than the first one.
I'm surprised you did, because I actually adored Afterlife. This one I was like, okay, this reminds me of Ghostbusters.
Afterlife really bugged the shit out of me.
I didn't have as much problem. I agree with you that it was kind of hokey how they brought the guys in at the end. There's another way that I think they could have done it, but the rest of the story, I completely love. I thought it was a
Yeah,
It
no,
was
I-
far
full
better
homage
than
to
how they
Egon.
pulled Bill Murray into the 2016 Ghostbusters. That
oh
was-
my
Oh.
God, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But the difference there is like the original 1984 script, that's almost word for word what's in the movie compared to the 2016 film, which we've covered, endlessly here on Midnight's Edge, where it was 99% improv to the
Yeah,
point
but
where
that's
there's like
his
a
technique.
4-hour
That's-
fucking cut.
But
Yeah.
that's what's his name?
Feig's.
Feig's technique.
Feig,
That's
yeah.
his. That's what I'm saying is that, and even Farrell. I mean, these movies, Anchorman. It's a history of
Oh yeah.
movie making where they just go. You know what? We're only going to get some of the ideas in, and then we'll figure out as we go because they're used to doing it. But this is my F1 driver analogy. You go, oh my God, how do you do that with $100 million?
Yeah.
Well, how do you do that in a multi-million-dollar race car?
It's one thing if you got Jim Carrey or Bill Murray or whatever, and you're going to let them improv. It's a little different when you've got the 4 women in Ghostbusters who are all competing to be the fucking star.
But I'm telling you, there's not a lot of comedians in Gladiator 1, yet a shit ton of that was actually improv.
Are you talking the Gladiator film?
Gladiator 1 was maybe a quarter of the script was used and the rest of it was improvised.
Well, it's a little easier to improv drama than it is to improv comedy.
But you might not get it right.
Ryan Reynolds would disagree.
Yeah.
So to me, it's staggering.
Well, and this is
how
one thing
much
I
they're
don't.
willing to play with that much cash and not be more tight.
I'll tell you what.
Tightened down.
This is something I think Paul and I will agree on. Comedy is the hardest thing to ever do, and you will bomb more than you'll ever find wins. If you go to watch a lot of outtakes, you'd be surprised how much garbage Jim Carrey and all these guys go through before you finally get that little piece of gold, right? And I mean, and that's what I love about seeing all those outtakes from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, because even a genius like John Candy, where that's what a lot of those outtakes are, it's just him just sitting there improvising. And it's hilarious.
Line variations.
Yeah, not just that, but like just little. John was a master at business, not just lines so much as just doing coming up with a gimmick in business.
Yeah,
like having a little the sock thing or his book and all that kind of stuff. Like just he finds ways of working with the atmosphere more so than just the line part of it. Like or coming up with a funny.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into the details of the business, but you find the things in the moment because even when you're writing a script, you're improvising with yourself.
Correct.
And you're in the room with yourself improvising, but when you're shooting, something will come up and you go, hey, how about we do this? And you go, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, because you can't think of everything, when you're initially writing the script and you're dealing with talented people and I've dealt with actors who weren't particularly talented that were very happy to offer me their opinion, and I was very happy to turn it down.
Oh, Paul, I'm working on it, man. You don't have to help that.
Anyway, we could talk about this all day. I could wax with you about this stuff all day long. But
wax in front of me. I don't
wax, not whack.
Oh.
Not wax off, wax on. Packing Proton says also, why does Spidey need tech to shoot webs now? He always has, my friend. He always has. It was actually only in the Raimi version, which actually was a holdover from the Cameron script.
Yeah.
It wasn't a script. It was a treatment or screenplay or whatever you call it. It was cooler when it came out of his hands naturally. We have yet to do a video on that one, have we, Andre?
We have actually.
I thought we did at some point. It wasn't before my time. Okay.
Before your time, we had like an epic Spider-Man series. You can just search for Spider-Man on our older videos. You'll find that where we actually do talk about
surprisingly, from my memory, it's very close to the Raimi version. A lot of the same stuff happens.
Yeah.
Well, just created more work for yourself, Tom.
That was the only place is in the Raimi that he shot it out of his body. That nowhere in the comics does he. Not even in the alternative.
No, that was an invention of James Cameron. That was recycled by Raimi. In the comics, he always had mechanic web shooters. Always. Up until that point.
But but still, even in the comics, they emphasized how smart Peter was.
Yeah.
because of how compact the web shooter was. So it was
exactly.
invisible.
Right.
Yeah.
That was part of the character. This looks like Dreadnought or the the guys who pump themselves up with
Dreadnought.
power fluid.
Yeah.
Like
It
who
looks
was
like
the
somebody
guy
would
in
have done in
Batman?
the 40s. Oh,
Kane, or what's the guy's name?
not you're thinking of not
The third movie with the third Nolan movie.
Bane.
So this I didn't really like. Actually, I didn't mention it with regards to this particular trailer, but that looked total Bane like. I don't want to see the hoses.
It reminds me of the electric dude who has those things on his hands.
I don't want full frontal hoses either.
No. I think it's done. Part of Spider-Man was that he was smart enough to make it a very compact.
He actually tried to sell that technology to a company in the comics. It was kind of a clever storyline that they didn't want, but they didn't want it. So
yeah, this hose, these hoses that are so obvious makes it look like that stupid hat where you've got the two beer cans and you're like can suck on the beer.
Yeah, full frontal hoses.
Full frontal hoses. Yeah, it's a way too Baney for me.
Hoses on the head. Yeah,
you
hoses
don't want,
on the head.
You don't want veins
No.
on the hoses is bad. You don't want any of that.
Anyways.
Yeah, we got Jeremiah Hembry who says, Tom, do you think James Gunn boss already sells Superman to other streams platform like Netflix?
Oh no. Not yet.
Not yet, but it might be built into the package eventually, like they used to do with like HBO and stuff back in the day. But that means it's like you're talking it'll be video on demand, then HBO Max, and then maybe like Netflix or something like that down the road. But we're talking a while down the road.
I don't know. They just had a screening that I heard was so bad. This thing may be on Tubi before the end of 2020.
Well,
there's that.
I actually have a video I'm putting together on that. So
we actually just dropped one yesterday that was 20 fucking minutes long on this whole thing.
Yeah, Tom, I got to ask you a question, and Chris, of course, because you guys are here. Do you think this DC experiment's going to go just terribly badly?
I have a bit different feeling than everybody else because I have sat back and I've had, my inside track as well from back in the day. And not only that, look, and I'm glad we got this video out. Hopefully people check it out because there's the big fat pink elephant in the room that nobody's acknowledging is that there is a huge fucking media bias against anything Warner related that is now bleeding over to James Gunn, that is also crossed over with the Snyder Bros. So I have a hard time believing anything that comes out of anyone anywhere right now when it comes to this shit because everybody has an agenda. We have now even called it ZDS, Zaslav Derangement Syndrome. No, Hollywood literally, and it's because he's a known conservative. They didn't want him there from the start. He's an outsider. He doesn't do things the way they do. And you can find these stories out there. This is all the same shit everybody says about him. But you know what? I don't agree with everything he does. But he's somebody who takes chances and he makes money. And he has made Warner Brothers, basically, he's taken a company that was in fucking
big trouble.
It was a big disaster when he came in there. And he has done a lot to bring it back. Now, again, I don't agree with everything he's done, but people have also been ignoring the fact that that Warner Brothers has put out almost nothing but hits, sans Jokers 2 in the last year or so. If you go all the way back to Wonka, they've had nothing but hits.
And even the trades, they reluctantly had to say, this was no one's fault, and it wasn't even his fault.
Actually, if you go back to Barbie.
Do you think it's Zaslav, though, that is also part of why they're delaying the 2 Batman movies?
I think that's all gone. I think it's 2 things. Yeah, I think it's all gone, and I think it's also a little bit Matt Reeves, but mostly I think that is Gunn. I don't think he needs to consult with anyone higher above him. We also went through in the video exactly why those 2 movies are delayed, most likely.
Yeah, the Batman, for one, I think we've pretty much got confirmation of what was being told.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, and it makes sense. Even though and we were going to talk about this anyway, so we might as well bring it up a little bit now. Even though James Gunn had come out with this stupid, convoluted excuse for why it's going to be 5 years between the movies. And yes, there was 5 years between Joker and Joker 2, but guess what? Joker 2 was never a thing. They were never going to, Todd Phillips had never planned on making a Joker 2. They had to convince them to make a Joker 2. Joker 2 wasn't even really a reality until Zaslav came in and he's like, get that fucker going. Right? Like that was the big thing. But
Batman 2 a musical now too?
I don't know. Well, the Batman 2 was one of those where I was hearing, and this is the short version, was that they were happy that it made enough money to prove that they didn't need to stick around with this, Snyder shit.
Yeah.
But it didn't make the $1 billion that Joker did.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, it has to be shorter. You have to work on the chemistry and you have to work on the budget. And it also is going to depend on whether or not the Penguin performs on HBO Max. And at that time, it was just going to be an HBO Max show. Now it's HBO and Max. But that was another thing that Zaslav has done. And I've even had people say shit like, oh, he's this and that. He's a stream monger. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He's the only one who said this is a stupid idea to put just things on streaming when we have HBO. He's the only person who's been smart enough to say that. So there is no such thing as Max exclusives anymore. They're all HBO and HBO Max. He's kind of doing what everybody said. What are you doing in the first place by separating these two things?
Well, they already had a streaming service. That's the thing.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah. HBO was already a streaming service on top of being a premium cable service.
HBO Go.
Yeah.
But anyhow, back to the Batman. Yeah, the whole point is that it didn't make as much money as they were hoping, and I think the fact that the Penguin was successful is the reason why it's back on track.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, before this, what was happening? Delay.
Yeah.
And I know Matt Reeves is supposedly a slow writer. I think Andre even pointed
He
that out.
said he
in the
had
video.
a finished script back in September.
Yes.
He's lying. He did not have a fucking finished script. He's never had a finished fucking
He
script.
said
He still
almost
doesn't have a finished
finished.
fucking
He said
script.
almost finished.
Yeah, and
said
then he
just
also said that.
Yeah, you know who that reminds me of? That is almost finished. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Tom. But that's like the writer of Game of Thrones. It's almost finished.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the Winds of Winter.
Yeah. What's his
George
face?
R.R. Martin.
Yeah, but no, here's the thing too, is he also said in some of those interviews that a lot of his ideas for the Batman 2 wound up in the Penguin.
Yep.
So that's where I'm like going, okay. When everybody was like, oh, he's getting a trilogy, I'm like, are you sure? I think he's saying that the Batman 2 is the end of his trilogy. And he's counting the Penguin as the middle of his trilogy, but I could be wrong.
I can't wait until there's a streaming series like The Offer, but it's all of the Sturm and Drang of the DC studios.
Oh,
So we
dude, I
see
hope
all
that
this shit
Paramount
going
gets
on.
smart and they continue that in like an anthology series.
Oh, that'd
I've
be
said
great.
that.
There is a
it'd be great.
lot there. I mean, I think.
Well, you
I
could
think
do
hit on
Jaws, you could do
something.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
you could do The Wizard of Oz, you can do fucking.
Oh, but I'm
Citizen
talking about
Kane,
even
you could-
cutting Batgirl. I want to be in the room when he says, no, destroy all negatives of Batgirl. I want to know.
Well, it never had a negative. It was on a hard
Yeah,
drive,
you
and they were
know,
smart
yeah.
enough to pull it from
okay,
the fucking.
Mr. Technical.
No, I know, but they were smart enough to pull it from the server before anybody could steal
Hey,
it.
what's wrong with the servers are down? The servers are down. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And look, I mean, I want to just say this. The Reverse Morris Trust put Warner Brothers Discovery in a giant debt hole, and they'd been maintaining that and then they've been adding to it, obviously, the write-downs. We just talked about Batgirl, but many other write-downs that have had to occur, even in the video game area. And almost all of them are attributable to the intersectionality, woke, and other garbage. Since the Reverse Morris Trust, they've just continually had to increase the debt hole. They didn't have that. They were on the path to correcting that problem, which is what Tom was talking about. And I mean, even in the last quarter, they retired debt. So it's not like Zaslav doesn't know the direction that he needs to take the company. It's that Reverse Morris Trust
Well,
that's been.
I'll give you a
big
perfect
problem.
example of the media flat out lying on his ass. They said that it was him who said a bunch of nasty shit about Clint Eastwood and didn't want to put and reluctantly put Juror Number 2 in 50s theaters. When the reality was, from what I heard, and it was found out later, that no, Zaslav was the only reason the motherfucker was in theaters. It was actually meant to go straight to streaming because that was back before he was even part of the fucking program. It was Kalar who made that deal with him. It was supposed to go straight to HBO Max.
Yeah.
That was fake
And
news.
and it was Zaslav who said, this movie is so good, we're going to throw it in 50 theaters so it can have a chance at Oscars.
Yep.
Even though it's got no chance with Wicked and shit like that, but still. Nicholas
You think
Holt has
Wicked's
had a
gonna get
hell of
an
a year,
Oscar?
though.
Oh no.
Oh no, Wicked's gonna fucking run away with all of them.
Can I add to that? Nicholas Hoult has had a heck of a year, and
Yeah,
I
he
think
has. I just said that. Yeah,
he is basically the about time guy. It's about time for him.
And he's going to
And
have a big year next year as well because he's Lex Luthor, and according to some early reviews, he's the highlight of.
He's the only good thing.
And to get back to
Chalamet's
that,
had a great calendar year as well.
and Chris, I know you got to go, and I want to hear your side of this too. But like to get to that thing, if you actually listen to what Roca and Snyder are saying in their analysis of the supposed test screening that they're talking about, is the same one that everybody was talking about a few weeks ago. If you really look at it, they're not even really saying what the headlines are saying. The movie does need some work still, but this was supposed to be a screening with all his friends and shit. So this would have been and I love that Andre brought in the Star Wars one, because that's basically what it was. Is when George Lucas showed Star Wars for the first time to all his friends, they all said it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who got it was Steven Spielberg.
Well, but then didn't his wife have to edit it?
Yeah,
for him and fix it.
Yeah, like Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, everybody are like, "What the fuck is this thing, George?"
Yeah. Well, I don't trust Gunn. I mean, I'll say it. I mean, I have appreciated some of his movies. Don't get me wrong. I like the first two Guardians of the Galaxy. I realized the other day
the movie could suck, but yeah,
it may, and I don't. So I'm not. I don't trust any more than I trusted Zach. I mean, I know you're very defensive of Zaslav over the Snyder Bros. You have almost an attachment to anything anti-Snyder, and I get it. I don't like Snyder as anything other than a DP. Trust me, but I don't trust James Gunn, and I don't know what he's going to do. I feel like it may be a little too whimsical, a little too lighthearted. I'm not sure.
Let me put it to you this way: I trust Zaslav more than I do Gunn.
Well, I do too, and I will give you that. So on that note, I have nothing more to add to the conversation.
Oh, well, with that, check out Chris over on Bleeding Fool. Anything else you want to plug on your way out?
Happy New Year, gents. I'll be watching.
Paulie,
sorry that you got in here later than I could stay, but it was good to see you, and Paul, of course. Culture, always great to see you as well. Tom, thanks again for not locking the door on me so I could come in.
I got one for Chris.
Oh, whoop. Whatever happened to Batman the Cape Crusader? If you watched it, you know what happened to it. So the Penguin is a cabaret style overweight female, and Batman is a guest star on his own animated series. There's what happened.
That was the one that Warner Brothers was like, nope.
Well, and that may be another thing that Zaslav said, you know what, get this crap out of here.
That had, I think, more to do with the JJ situation than anything. And I think the only reason that they even allowed them to shop it around is because I think Matt Reeves was one of the producers, to be honest with you. So they're playing nice with Matt Reeves. But
well, it had the pedigree and it had all the bona fides, but it was DEI stricken, unfortunately.
Yeah. Tommy Reviews is the one who sent this in for 5, and he asked Chris what happened to the Cape Crusader, and I thought it was going to be a hit show for season 2. Never saw it and didn't plan to. Well, I think it's getting a season 2 because, like Andre was saying earlier about all these shows now, they get a 2 or 3 season order. You know,
there's such an embarrassment of riches of content out there, and there were even movies and shows that were mentioned on today's show that I'd never heard of. I know some of them were Shudder features. Some of their horror picks were. So there's so much to watch. Don't waste your time watching something that has a bit of a stench to it. If somebody tells you, hey, smell this, trust me, you don't want to smell it. Right?
Or taste this.
But I enjoyed it.
Pull my finger.
Yeah, pull my finger, right. Enjoyed it, guys. I'll try and join you again later this week. And all
right.
Much love and Happy New Year.
Take care.
See you soon, buddy.
All right, Chado. Mr. Chado, what you got?
I'm packing up CDs and DVDs that frantic fans have paid me for. So I'm doing that today.
Okay, I need to send you money.
No, you don't. And I just need to get an envelope for you. And let's see now. I am working on the TV Guide one, and I'm working on kind of a year-end appalling news with a bunch of funny, absolutely appalling short form points. Just finish the year and then start anew, because I'm certain in 2025 there won't be anything appalling happening at all.
No, nothing at all. Yeah. Nothing. So enjoy it when you can.
Never.
So that's it for me, and I'm going to try to see Nosferatu soon, and then travel down to Buffalo and see it again. So,
Awesome.
Gothic theater or whatever. So that's it for me. I'm not going to be around on Wednesday. I'm going to, and please, everyone, enjoy a happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
If we don't see you Wednesday, Happy New Year.
Have a good end of year, and hopefully your new year starts off just swell.
Watch out for exposed hoses, Paul.
I'll make sure my fly is up.
Oh my!
Ending the year on a dick joke. Can't get much better than that.
That's right.
See you, everyone. Love you all.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye, Polly. Bye,
See you,
Culture.
Paul.
Bye, Tom. Bye,
Bye,
Andre.
sir. It's great to see you.
And then Culture, are you sticking around for a little bit longer? Or are you done?
Dude, I gotta go lay down.
All right. Well,
Coughing
plug your
my head.
wares, and then we'll talk some Nosferatu.
Yeah, no, I just
Yeah, we'll get out of here.
Do check out my channel. I am neither a culture nor a casino, but my channel's Culture Casino. I've been getting scolded in the background for my iconography, etc. So we may have to remediate it all. Yeah. Tom was a big meanie before we got started, but it was Andre too, and Paul, and everybody was coming at me, so it's fine.
Well,
I do want to say, do check out this man. He's been bringing it with his content lately, and do check out my channel as well. If after you've seen him, come see me and all the great videos I've been dropping. On that note, Paulie, thanks, brother. Everybody have a great new year. If I don't see you before, and check out today's videos. Bye, Paulie, you big meanie. You big meanie.
Happy New Year, Culture.
Happy New Year, brother. Feel better, man. Feel better.
I'll see you guys then. Bye.
Then we got Hyper Guyver 2 sends in tendencies regarding Frozen Empire. Those who cannot conceive of friendship as a substantive love, but only as a disguise for elaborate of Eros, betray the fact that they have never had a friend. Yeah, I get why people saw it, but
well, and I get why people went to that, because we're social media in our
10 years ago, I don't think people would have.
Everything's sexualized. Everything's highly. Highly.
And also, that's one thing. But in addition to it being sexualized, everything is lesbian. We've had lesbians shoved on our faces for years now. So people are extra sensitive to that, I think.
Yeah.
Like
and then we got
every badass chick on TV and movies, they're not only a girl boss, they don't need no man because they're a lesbian.
Then we got Pilgrim Media with $5 here. He says, I took my 86-year-old mom to Wicked. I wanted to escape my skin and leave the theater. Just saying, hopefully your mom enjoyed it at least, if it was worth anything to go sit through.
I mean, yeah.
Well, Ma can pay you back and go.
A lot of ladies are loving that movie.
Ma can pay you back and go see Nosferatu with you, because Andre, you got to see Nosferatu. So why don't you tell the audience what you thought?
I thought it was absolutely fantastic because, as I said, just because we have done research on it doesn't mean that we automatically are going to like the remake. Actually, the opposite is true. It's going to really enhance our standards because we know exactly what to look for. So I had some very specific demands going in, what I wanted from the movie, and I got 9 in 10 things I got from the movie. I was really impressed with all the level of detail that they got right. The way that I described it is that Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is the original Nosferatu expanded and on steroids, because they took literally everything about the original and they just took it up to its logical conclusion, and that's what they gave us. So I was very, very happy with it. I mean, it was beyond my wildest expectations. I did not expect it to be that good. I did not expect Skarsgård to be that good. I mean, I heard samples of the voice on the computer, but that was nothing compared to hearing it in the theater. His accent was spot on when he spoke. I think the language he spoke had to have been Romanian.
I think so.
That was spot on. Yeah, because I could kind of understand a little bit of it, because Romanian is a Latin language, meaning it's going to have some similarities with other Latin languages. I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I was able to recognize some of what, or understand some of what he said by way of Spanish. which leads me to think it must have been Romanian, maybe old Romanian, which would be more similar to Latin, but still, yeah, the performances were all fantastic, especially Depp. Holy crap, what an actress. I no longer believe for 1 second that it was scheduling conflicts that that prevented Anna Taylor-Joy from being in the role. I'm 100% convinced that was just some bullshit that they made up to give her an out, because the director found a more suitable actress for the role.
No, I mean, she gives 125% in this role, and I think you're right, and that's where I was coming from too. Is I think he knew Anya Taylor-Joy was never going to be able to go to the depths that this character was going to have to go to, and Lily, whatever it was that he knows about her or whatever, knew she was going to be the one to have to do it. I agree with you 100%, and that's why I said earlier it was so tough to try and come up with a comparison to her, because I can't think of another female actress who is this committed to a role like this.
I can think of one. Only one that I can think of, and that would be what's her face in The Shining.
Oh, yeah,
Shelley
Duvall,
Duvall,
maybe. Well, does that count though? Because Shelley Duvall was really crazy.
I know, that's what I mean, and that's what the thing. She really was. That's what she was.
No, I mean, she's like
was so good,
really crazy. Like,
but that's what I mean. Like, if someone were to tell me, "Oh, she actually that like she." You can tell from interviews that she doesn't. But if someone were to tell me that, oh yeah, you're actually watching someone with the mental issues here, I'd believe it, because she was that believable. How she was able to get like that look of the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Everything
very difficult to fake.
I mean, it's a transformative performance.
Yeah.
It's a transformative performance. I physically as well. I was like, is this now like some sort of CGI or stop motion that they're doing? And I was all Lily Depp Rose, man.
Yeah,
so impressive. And then them together, Skarsgård and Lily Depp Rose, because that had to be also too, just this kind of ancient sick chemistry that they had to have connected. Yeah, man.
Actually, this went both ways, Dark Hero fan, at least from what I could tell from the making of the movie.
Yeah, the reason he lost his temper was that he was dealing with someone who mentally wasn't quite there. Right?
And it's hilarious watching the one bit where he's just trying to get her to come out the door and walk across the camera, and she just doesn't get it. It's to watch that scene, you're like, okay, now I understand what Kubrick was dealing with, because she's just completely off in left field. But no, like, you're 100%. Like, I couldn't express enough. I thought for sure maybe I'm overselling this with Lily Rose, but like, I couldn't believe like the performance she was giving.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, and everything, just the visuals of Orlok, how every single picture was a painting.
Oh God, yes, yeah. Like, I mean, that's why I can't wait till this comes out on 4K so I can just relish.
I hope it comes in a massive box set.
So I can just, it's doing well enough that it might get a decent release at least. Yeah. Oh, we have somebody else here who saw it.
Yes.
Is he here? It's Mikey.
Wait, I think I'm echoing. Hold on.
It's 8-bit Mikey.
Wait, I'm
echoing. Mikey.
Oh, there we go. Now we got you. Your net's catching up.
Wait, am I still 8-bitting?
A little bit, but not too bad.
Well, I'm not a YouTuber. What kind of quality do you expect?
No problem. It's good. It's good. You saw this too, didn't you?
I saw it last night.
And?
That's why I've come to put you film nerds in check here.
Yeah. Before you say what you think about this movie, did you see our version of Nosferatu and the accompanying documentary? So you kind of like know what's
so
know what this should be about.
Before I saw yours, which I couldn't find anywhere on the internet until I really hunted for it one day because the notifications suck. But even though I subscribed to the channel when I first found out about it. But anyway, so before I saw yours, I saw the original. Then I saw yours. And then last night I saw this. Holy crap, this movie is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Holy banana crap. This movie is unfreaking believable. Everybody deserves an Oscar. I don't even like horror movies. In fact, breaking news. A certain Mexican that we all know, who's our favorite Mexican on YouTube, that's not named Latino Slant. He's the other guy. He talks like he's a Mr. Tough Guy, Mexican Iron guy. Is Mr. Tough Guy, but when it comes to horror movies, I'm a Mr. Sissy Pants. So I don't like horror movies. I don't like horror movies. I don't like the horror genre. I think it's dumb and stupid in general. And I definitely don't like going to Universal Studios Horror Nights, as evidenced by when I took Snow Dub and his kid, and I was terrified for hours on end. As Paulie was there and saw me, it was a horrifying. Paulie, did I not scream like a little girl?
Yeah, I think Romy said like a little biatch, if I remember correctly.
Mike, so why does Mexican Iron Man scream like a little bitch? Because he's scared.
Yeah.
Anyway. You guys, with your assessment on Friday, I had to tune out of your show because you guys started talking about this scene, that scene, this and this and this. So I just stopped listening to you on Friday, on your Friday show, because it was like basically I was getting spoilers. So, or I felt I was getting spoilers because I'd already, I didn't want to hear what you guys had to say. So I just said, all right, fine, I'm gonna go see this myself. Holy crap! I don't know another. When was the last time I raved about a movie? I mean, really raved. I don't know. What?
Godzilla -1.
Yeah. You're right. That was a year ago.
Yeah, that's the last time.
That is exactly the last time. Now, I mean, first of all, the cinematography. First of all, if you're going to wait for this to show up on streaming, you're a freaking moron. Anyone watching this show on live right now or on repeat. If you're going to wait for this movie to show up on streaming and you're going to watch it on your iPad or your little phone, then you are doing yourself a massively huge disservice. I got an 82-inch TV screen in my living room, and I'm glad that I went to the movies. I was working all weekend long. I finished the project at 6:15. I made a 6:30 show. I literally just got up and I took off after I finished my work project. And I'm glad I saw it on this big ass screen. I actually would have loved to see it on an IMAX. That might have been creepy.
Yeah, sadly, it didn't get a ton of IMAX screens, but I'm hoping after this week, if Lion King falls off, it will.
There are some people that walked out of this movie while I was sitting in that. There are some people, there's like one or two guys I could tell they were bored. And I got to tell you, there was one part, and I won't say what part it was. So Mexican Iron Man always has the same thing. He gets his bottled water or a Slurpee. He gets his nachos with extra cheese and extra jalapenos, and he gets his popcorn with a ton of butter and salt. I don't splurge often on my diet, but I do when I go to the movies. So I'm sitting there eating my nachos. I got my little nachos with my cheese, and something happened, and I went, ah! And my nachos went flying, and the cheese hit the floor, and it was a mess. So there's a few little jumpy parts, but overall, I will say, here's my 4 things. Number 1, cinematically, Tom is right from everything that he said since last Thursday, which is that you feel that you are literally in this world. I could almost smell and feel the cold wintry snow, even though I wasn't in one of those sensory theaters. Like I could feel it. I almost felt like I could touch these buildings. I mean, where the hell did they film this thing? It looked I literally thought I was in the 1800s.
Yeah, the cool thing is I actually saw this because I'm in Norway right now, and I saw this in a relatively new cinema called Vega, in a relatively old part of Oslo, and the weather outside was pretty much exactly as you see in the movie, and the buildings are also pretty much exactly like the movie. So to me, it was like extra surreal because basically I was in that world, went out into the cinema, and came back out to that literal world because that's kind of like where I live. It's just like more modern clothing.
Yeah. So cinematically, it was just awesome. Number 2 is the acting was just off the chain. Everybody in this, everybody down to the gypsies in the random scene in the woods. Everybody was on fire. Everybody should get an Oscar. I mean, it was just, William Dafoe. Holy crap. Shit,
yeah.
The doctor guy or the real estate agent guy that Thomas works for. I've seen him in a ton of stuff. That was the real estate guy who plays the other guy with the
Aaron Taylor Johnson, and then you had Ralph Ineson as the doctor. Knock.
I've
Uh,
seen him in
Nook.
God knows how many
Yeah.
roles
Nook,
over the years. This
who's
is
like
his-
the Renfield of the movie. Yeah,
yeah, this is the absolute best.
great
thing of-
character actor.
So
Yeah,
the acting's outstanding. The plot I didn't see coming. Now it's the standard Nosferatu plot, but boy oh boy, like Andre says, there's a lot more stuff in it, and the way they handled the ending was just masterful. I thought. I
Yeah.
didn't see the ending coming. I
That
was throwing
final
gross.
shot is fucking amazing.
Huh?
That final shot was
dude,
amazing.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
Like cinematically, it just kind of anyway. I don't want to give away the ending. But look, and the fourth thing I'm going to say is that about it is that the time. This movie ran for over 2 hours.
2 hours 10 minutes with credits.
Didn't feel
Bro,
like it.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
some people
feel
say
it.
it drags, but I thought it was very well paced for the most part.
Absolutely.
Well, they're going in thinking it's something else. Those are the people that are
That's
saying
the
that.
issue. Yeah.
And that's it. And that was the same issue with Northman. I mean, I was all for it, but I was like surprised how avant-garde the Northman was. So I was like, is it, but this is a way more accessible than the Northman.
If your senses have been dumbed down by Hollywood, which mine have, then I can understand that you might have, like, I heard Verbal's reaction yesterday on George's show, Tom, that you were on. I know Verbal didn't like it. I think you're on point. I think it's because they were expecting one thing, got another. This is an important movie. I'm not saying it's as important as the original. And I got to tell you, after I saw what you guys put together, I didn't want to see this movie because I don't know. Like, I thought you guys did a great job, frankly. Like, so I was okay without seeing this. What this did is it just, what was the term you used? Steroids. It just beefed it out. I don't know. Even if you say you don't like horror movies, go to this movie. If you like cinema in general and you've lost a reason to go to the movies, this is a reason to go back. You're right. The last time I had this reaction was Godzilla -1.
Yeah, exactly. That's the last time. 1 year ago.
Yeah.
I also say I think that 2024 has been a relatively weak year for movies. Like my two favorite movies of the year, like this is my new number one favorite movie of the year, right at the very end of it. And then it's Beekeeper. Those are my two standouts for 2020.
You got to see Juror number 2 yet, though. But yeah,
I still have to see that one.
But yeah, like I'd put this at my number 1, then probably either Juror number 2 or Saturday Night. They're real close, and then probably either Beekeeper or yeah, I don't know. But this is my number 1 easily.
Oh yeah.
And to answer the question of where they filmed this, they filmed it in Corvin Castle in Romania, Prague, and Toronto. So there you go. It's either sets or
what other movies have been filmed in Corvin Castle? I know that name. Something else has been filmed.
I know. That's what I was
asking.
asking. Is this the same one that they filmed? Is it the original castle they filmed?
No.
in?
No. That's not. That's
what
not
I was
the one.
asking the other day because yeah, I know they used that for the new Dracula series because we brought that up in our retrospective. But
Yeah.
I was pretty sure this wasn't the same castle. But then that one room did look similar, but I wasn't sure. But
Yeah, but that's just
Yeah.
stage makeup. It's not the same. it's not
otherwise,
the same
according to
exterior.
this, it's been used in. Let's see here if I can find it.
Nosferatu 79, Hypergiver says.
Okay, there you go.
That I haven't seen that one.
It's also very good. I'll hook you up with it if you want. But yeah, it's very different. That is a much more traditional vampire tale, which is why I think that
According to
many
IMDb, it's
may
the only
be
movie
more
that's been shot
receptive
there.
to
but-
it than this one, because that's a vampire movie. This isn't. This is a demonology movie. That's it's supposed to
A
be.
possession
also
movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, I also found it interesting, and Andrea and Polly, I also found it interesting how they were little things in the script, that little nuggets, like where there were lines where people talked about, oh, we're here in the modern era. It's the 1830s,
Yeah.
which looks ass backwards to us, right? But
But the
But
irony,
that's a big part in the original story, though, too. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
yeah, no, exactly. But I love that because that is exactly as Tom was saying. That is the whole purpose of the story. Because here you have then this character, Mr. Craven himself, who should be down on his knees and thank the stars for being in this movie to save him after Craven. Because remember, in the original, he's the narrator. When you hear like the narrator, in my case, me, or in our case, me, say that basically he's recalling to what happened to his hometown of Whisper. That's him. That's guy. He's the narrator of the original movie. And he has that purpose in this movie as well. He's the point of view character, but he also symbolizes modernity.
Are you sure
and
about
how
that though? Because he talks about himself in the third person. Then Andre, I was thinking about that between then and now. Because I always thought this was it was a colleague of Doctor the doctor who was. But go ahead. I thought it was the other doctor, Sayers or whatever. But
yeah, that's a good point actually. But either way, where was I? Lost my train of thought. Yeah. So anyway, so he symbolizes modernity. He symbolizes this belief that we are now the masters of the world. We are beyond past superstitions, and then the whole purpose of the original, the whole messaging is that no, you've just shed your beliefs in some very real occult forces, and if you suddenly come face to face with them, you'll find that your modernity is completely useless up against it, and only the old ways of human sacrifice and blood sacrifice will actually help. And that's the same thing here.
Yeah, because basically Frederick his character doesn't believe in any of this shit, and then you have the other doctor who it's also does kind of work though, Andre, with your point, because the other doctor represents modern medicine, right? Because they even have the scene where he yells at the orderly for putting Knock in the fucking old ward.
Yeah, exactly. So it's even more to the point. I just brought up this super chat right here from the Kimerian, who says for $9.99, Nosferatu. Great film about the inability of modern man to confront ancient evil and the universal susceptibility of people to appetite, including Orlok himself. Yes. Very good.
And it's even in his warning too, remember? Because he's like, look, I know a guy, but he's like fucking weird. And he's like, well, how weird? Like really fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like they're having that conversation. I'm paraphrasing in modern terms, but you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce off real quick before you do the super chat. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, happy New Year to you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for popping in, man. So yeah, Andre, any final thoughts on Nosferatu then?
Yeah, I don't really know what more to say without going into too deep spoilers.
Too many spoilers.
It was everything that I anticipated and more. I have very seldom been this blown away by a movie. Now, of course,
I am dying to
overhype it, but yeah.
Andre, I'm dying to go into with you and Tom all the details about what makes this movie so awesome, but I gotta stop myself because I'll ruin it for people, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I'm already seeing, just going back through it in my head, seeing so many things that so many themes and stuff about the film, like
this
with
is
Lily's
a movie you
character.
can rewatch again and again and again and again and always find something new, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of is like, okay, so like there's also like there's just so many little things that you can, like you said, because you could pick apart, like with even like Ellen's character in this too is like clearly, like the first time she remembers Orlok is like, clearly when she was probably approaching motherhood. There's this attachment with the blood. They bring up the congestion of the blood and her menstrual cycle. They're thinking about having a baby. There's all these things that, like, it's like it's all there in that with her character. And then you have the elements, without getting too much into spoilers. That's why I know I'm sounding kind of weird to people who are like, what is he talking about? But if you've seen the movie, you kind of get what I'm getting, I think. And that, and just the whole idea of what Orlok represents here compared to what people were thinking he was going to be. Because, they want the Dracula. Right, they think he's going to be the typical "I want to suck your blood" kind of thing, and it's not.
This is far more terrifying than any Dracula has ever been, ever.
No, he represents much different things than what vampires represent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do yourself a favor if you haven't seen the original, check it out on Midnight's Edge Retrospectives and Classics, and we have also the documentary as well to check out if you haven't seen that yet. And Mikey, any final thoughts on Nosferatu before we move on?
I'm gonna go see it again.
Yeah, I hope to.
I don't know when or where. I want a better theater with better audio than I got, which wasn't bad. It was good, but it's just my usual neighborhood theater. Oh. I mean, and look, I'll buy the 4K when it comes out, but I really want to see this again in a modern theater than the one I saw it in.
Right.
I'm glad I went. You told me to go. Andre told me to go. Paulie told me to go. George told me to go. And I'm like, I mean, because I saw yours is fantastic. By the way, I'm glad I saw yours before I saw
I
this.
think that will greatly help. Yeah, I think that the more people you know.
God. I don't think I could have made the jump from the original 100 and some odd years ago to this without seeing yours. That was a perfect primer before I saw this.
Yeah, and that was the whole intention with our version, because
it is perfect primer for that. I am so glad I saw that before I saw that.
Because I think you will find once you saw like the one on Blu-ray or something, and you saw ours, I think you'll find that ours is the far more sensical, logical, clear narrative, for lack of a better term, because that's what we were going for.
No, that's exactly.
There's so many errors in the one you have in Blu-ray. Like, note that some places you'll find that some key cards must have been switched around because the narration doesn't make any sense or any. And yeah, so we fixed all that.
Yeah. I didn't like the original very much, even though I saw it, but I loved yours, and it was a great primer for this. So everybody go see. Can the mods drop a link in the chat to the Midnight's Edge other channel that has it?
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
sure they can.
Looking at Comedian is saying the same thing.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. It's just more promotion.
I'd highly recommend seeing that before walking in and seeing this. It was the it would be like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you gotta, I don't know, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like watching Godzilla -1 in color versus black and white. You enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I can imagine that.
I mean, you guys are so numb to it all because you spent like 3 months working on it, but you know.
No, actually, I would say it's the opposite. We are extra sensitive to
that was my experience. Like,
with it.
I was like terrified throughout the film. I'm like waiting for it to go off the rails at some point. I'm like, okay, so when is something going to happen here that's some major change that really fucks with the story? Like, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for it to go off the rails. And when we got up to that final shot, I mean, I was like a kid just waiting to jump out of my seat. I'm like, oh my God, he didn't fuck it up. Holy shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Again, with that final shot, he just went above and beyond anything I ever would have expected. I would never have even thought of that, and it was incredible.
And what's funny is it's a reversal on the, and I mean a reversal in a way. You have to see it to get what I'm saying. And Paul even set me up for it too, in a way, of the Bram Stoker shot of the mural. And I don't want to give away too much at the end, but anyhow, yeah. Juan Carlos Gonzalez Jr. sends in $1.99, says, first time in Orlando with family. Any recommendations? Well, I've never been there, so I can't recommend, but I imagine at least one of y'all probably has.
I've been many times.
Universal Studios. That was 30 years ago. So yeah, I'd also say Universal Studios, but again, I haven't been in Orlando since 1995, so it's starting to be a while.
When Andre was like 4 years old.
I was 14 actually, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you got anything to recommend, Mikey?
Universal Studios. You know what? I would go to the Icon Park. It's fun and cheap for what it is. You can go up on the thing, that thing that goes around. That's real slow. It takes an hour to do a loop.
I would imagine he already knows about Universal, so I think he's asking.
All right,
for
so
Icon,
do Icon Park for sure, because I think it's a blast. I loved Icon Park. And then inside Icon Park, go to the Wax Museum because it's fun. That's where I met Trump, inside the Wax Museum. And it wasn't really him, but you know, he and I worked out some issues.
Hey, Mikey, you're the greatest Iron Man I've ever met.
I know President Trump. I know. Of course I am.
So then Chaos Sonic 1 says, hey, Mike, how was your Christmas? Hopefully you enjoyed Nosferatu and or Sonic 3 and not the cash grab Mufasa. Happy New Year.
Nope, haven't seen Sonic 3 yet. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna
you're probably waiting for Max, I suppose.
I'm waiting until I see Max. So Max is going. I just found out Max is going to the freaking concert down in Anaheim, which is gonna have to start an OnlyFans page to finance this trip. But yeah, I'm gonna go see it with him. Hopefully in about 2 or 3 weeks. It's still playing in LA.
Ooh, I got an idea for your OnlyFans. Only Elves. It's you actually watching Elf. People can pay you through. What? What? How is it? Whatever. All right. Try to help.
Well, so you want me to monetize me being pissed off all the time and suffering?
Yes,
Actually,
that's YouTube.
Well, that's what you'd be doing on OnlyFans, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I just said. Like, how is this a downside? You got enough people giving you shit about it. I mean,
yeah, that's a perfect thing. Do an OnlyFans where you play Alf on the Sega Master System.
oh God, look, I can't even. Think
well, he's got like close to 100 episodes he could watch of the regular show, the cartoon, the movie. Well,
I mean,
whatever.
theoretically, you're right. I've got the full. I had 2 copies of the 2 sets downstairs. Why didn't I give Andre one of those when he came?
You will. One of them's for him. Yes. Happy puppy or Valentine's puppy says Happy New Year, Andre, Tom, and Tom. Love and peace. Well, Happy New Year to you, and just fuck Mike, I guess. Right? No, I'm just kidding.
Ah!
I think he meant it for you too, probably. But yeah, did you see the new intro this morning?
Yeah, I like the what do you YouTubers call them? The placard thingy, like on my phone. The fuck, what do you call them? The gift, the
thumbnail.
Thumbnail. That's the word.
You did? Because I had somebody tell me it looks like somebody on acid made it. Because I made it.
Oh, it does look like somebody on acid made it, but I like acid, I guess.
I haven't done any acid today. I mean, I never actually tried acid. That's
me neither. Me neither. There is one lesson Nosferatu has taught me, though, from the beginning of the movie all the way through it, off and on. Watch out for those late night booty calls. Yep.
Yeah, especially long distance ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need to stop that.
So happy New Year, everybody. We'll be back here on Wednesday. At least I will be. I don't know for sure on Andre, but yeah, if whoever else joins me, we'll see. Maybe it'll be a short little get together. We'll see who shows up. But I know Andre, I think you're traveling, but you will try to make it, right? Or
I'll do my best to make it. I'll do my
You're
best.
not 100%.
Yeah, I'm picking
sure,
up
but-
someone at the airport at 1. I can't do Wednesday with you.
All right, sounds good.
Damn.
I'll keep that.
Sorry.
In mind.
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
should
fine.
be able to make it, but we'll see.
But all right, and with that, we're gonna get on out of here. Then I guess was there anything else we wanted to cover, or is that it? I think the rest can wait.
I think the rest can wait. So head on over to Latinos Land. This stream redirects there. Check out our most recent videos. If you are going to check out Nosferatu, which we recommend, then do yourself a favor. First, head over to Midnight's Edge Retrospectives and Classics and watch both our version of the original with brand new score, color correction, and new title cards, plus the ultimate retrospective on the original, because once you have seen that, you'll know more of what to expect of the new movie and you'll get a brand new appreciation for it. I think the only ones who are taken aback by the new movie are those who expect a vampire movie. And this is not that, and it's not meant to be. Yeah, and that's about it.
All right. So with that, Andre,
it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koala, koalas in the rain.